Yeah, that's what we did last time. Just do this.
So these are hot the whole time. Oh, he turned this one off.
Yeah, but I need that one connected to my live stream.
Marcelo. Sorry, turn it back on. Her live stream is on.
That's where my live stream is connected.
back on? I think you see unplugged it. Or no, that's the, never mind. What caliber are you looking at? I don't know yet. I've been looking at a couple different kinds. Well, stay away from that 350 motor. Right. It's a good caliber, but I put a couple of them together for people, and they either cycle or they don't. You know what I mean? Just where it's a straight raw taser cartridge. Right. And it's all in the bullet. Like in the D-Strat, the last one I put together, man, we polished the brass, and hell, we done everything you can do to it. And it will cycle flat nose bullets and flat nose bullets only. That's it. You know, but you can get flat nose ammo. What if you don't want to shoot that? Right. You know what I mean? We had some MPXs, a really good bullet for them. I loaded them up with just like them motherfuckers at all. Jams off every other one. Boom, jam, boom, jam, boom, jam. I had nothing wrong with it. I even took the polymer inside of them. I told him that polymer might be touching the speed ramp, and I took the polymer out of about 5 of them. I mean, I told him, I said, look, I said, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I don't know what to do with it. Like, I've done everything that can be done. He told me some gunmen to come into a gunsmith, and he was sitting there scratching his head. I said, hell, I'm telling you, I have no idea. Like, I can work on this shit. I don't know what to do. I stay away from that. That was always way easier than showing somebody.
The Titans of the Cage Fight Zone. Prepare yourself. Tonight, you will witness live, hard-hitting MMA action inside this octagon. Prepare yourself for Titans of the Cage Mixed Martial Arts. Are you ready? TOC will explode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fight to the Cage 31. Let me get a big round of applause. I love it. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Rick Russo. I'm going to serve as your ring announcer this evening for TOC 31. All of us at Titans of the Cage want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and joining us this evening. Titans of the Cage Fight Promotions. We'd like to recognize our business sponsors who make this event possible and the evening. A special thanks goes out to you, the official partners of TOC 31, Varney Construction and A1 Storage of Wytheville, Virginia, and Chris Fox Realtor at Berkshire Hathaway Home Service.
Got anything?
Let's give them a round of applause for their support. Without them, tonight's show would not go on. We'd also like to thank our event sponsors, TFH Landscaping, Alex and Stacy Gomez, attorney at law and official attorney of TOC, Fire Protection Services of Max Meadows, Virginia, With Tide Muffin of Wytheville, Sheets of Wytheville, Rick's R&R, Princeton, West Virginia, Circle K, Greg Stark and Stark's Lawn Services. Remember, guys, if you this out of the way, a few important announcements, so make sure we listen up, pay attention. This is the last time we're going to say these rules. If this is your first COC event, a lot of you this is, I've seen quite a few of you that I've met. We like to welcome you to TOC. We take pride in ourselves in promoting this family event. You will find that there's a very positive atmosphere here, and we expect all of our fans to show respect to all fighters, coaches, corners, UCA officials at all times. We do not allow profanity at all. We have many young fighters and fans. We have to create a positive atmosphere for them. So first, last, final warning. If you cuss, you're going to be asked to leave. I know we're adults, but respect the kids. Following along with that one, we do not allow any disrespectful conduct at any time. There are a lot of fighters in here. 50% of them are going to win, 50% of them are going to lose. Everyone gets a round of applause. Law enforcement is on site to help enforce these rules. Please let these gentlemen have an easy night. Those who choose to disregard my rules will be asked to leave. Again, I don't want to ask anybody to leave. Y'all paid money, so enjoy the fights, respect our fighters, respect yourselves. We ask that at no time anyone stand up during the bouts. Please remain seated. The people behind you are trying to see as well. If everyone stands up, it's going to be tough for anybody to see. Also, stay away from my cage. This is only for fighters and officials. Everybody got it? We cool? Excellent. Other than the cussing, the most important rule, there is absolutely no video recording at any time during the event tonight. Take pictures, feel free, no video recording. If you want to record or if your friends can't make it and they need to see it, we have pay-per-view links that they can purchase and check it out and watch it just the same as you guys are. You're seeing my pretty self on the TV and screens now. I am pretty, right? Hey, listen, I'm telling my wife. Alright, if your friends aren't here and they need to watch the fights, grab your phone, type it in real fast. www.ppp.tocfights.com. That's the only place you can get pay-per-view this evening. Anything else is a scam. There is no Facebook watch site. Check it out at www.ppp.tocfights.com. At this time, let's have a little fun and introduce our ring girls for this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a round of applause as we welcome Tiffany Huck and Miranda Blevins. One more round of applause for them. At this time, we would like to ask all of those who have served or are currently serving in our armed forces to please stand for a moment and be recognized. Titans of the Cage Fight Promotions thanks each and every one of you for your service, your dedication, and the sacrifice not only you, but your families have made on behalf of all of us, our country, and for our freedom. Again, thank you guys. At this time, if everyone would please stand and remove any and all head attire for the playing of our national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proud
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you. We have the freedom to join together in this place, in this arena tonight as these warriors come forth to show their skills and their techniques. And Lord, we just thank you that you give us that freedom. Lord, we thank you for all of our soldiers, for our police, fire, our military, our EMS, our public safety that keeps this country safe for us. God, I ask you tonight that you would allow your presence to be upon each of us, that you would protect each and one of these warriors as they come into this arena. That God, you would give them a warrior spirit, a warrior's heart, that they would come in here and they would contend with everything that they have. And God, when they finish it up, they leave it on the mat. Lord, keep us all safe. And thank you again for your grace and mercy. And thank you for your Son. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Titans of the Cage 31. Meaning this is the 31st event they had. I've been here since TOC 2. I fought there myself. During that time, we have experienced a lot of fan favorites. This is athletes who constantly bring members, sites to this new sport, exciting sport that's going on. In that time, we've had Jeremy Mitchell sell hundreds of tickets, Robbie Ring sell hundreds of tickets, and fan favorites of those things. Even setting records as a promoter, things like that, number of ticket sales, individual ticket sales, those are kind of important numbers to any promoter. Of course, it all comes back to money and where it goes. So when a certain athlete is able to sell a tremendous number of tickets, especially whether it be their first fight or 50th fight, then it's kind of awesome. It deserves a little bit of recognition. So if I was to ask right now for everyone in the room to mention one name that they came to see at the same time, I promise you it'd be a big I can't say that word. It'd be a big confusion of everybody saying a bunch of different names, but I promise you the loudest name in the building would be Miss April Klein. April, here at Titans of the Cage, we want to present you with our Fan Favorite Award. You not only sold sanctioned by United Combat Arts. The UCA director for the event is Mr. Brian Fasano. Your certified referees for this evening are Mr. Marcelo Rodriguez and Mr. Kane Thomas. Our ringside judges include Stacy Gomez, Ryan Taylor, and Josh Russo. The ringside physician serving tonight's event is Dr. Adam Corbin. And now, it's time for TOC 31! Are you ready? Oh, hold on, man. There's like 400 of y'all in here, and that's all the applause I get. I asked, are y'all ready for some fights? Y'all ready for some fights?
Welcome to TOC 31. My name is Scott Martin, and I'm here with the indomitable Keith Goins. Hey, Keith, how's it going today, buddy?
Hey, doing good, Scott. How are you, man?
Good, man. Hey, man, I'm excited for this match today. I'll tell you what, this has been a great card coming up here. Get us situated. We got some really stuff going on. Let's send it back over to Rick Caruso. Let's get this stuff started.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner by way of Salisbury, North Carolina. Please welcome to the TOC cage, Darren Doomsday Williams.
So looks like we have Sean Shefferdino, who's coached by Kane Tomlinson out of Legion MMA out of Roanoke, versus Darren Williams, who's coached by Ton Monroe from Matrix MMA out of Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yeah, Scott. Sean Shepardini, he made a fantastic entrance. First time we've ever seen him. This will be his debut fight with the TOC, and he had a really, really good entrance. Darren, his opponent, has got an amateur record of 1-2, so we'll have to see how it plays out if the experience or the debut guy can get it done.
You know, both these gyms are gyms we've seen in the past, and we've seen a lot of really amazing talent come on here. Kane Tomlinson, you know, who's the beast himself, you know, comes in here with a great legacy as he's brought in a lot of these fighters from Roanoke. And then we have Ton Monroe from Matrix out of Greensboro. I mean, I'll tell you, there's not much else you can say about how amazing, you know, both these gyms are and what kind of talent have come out of there.
That's true. The talent level at TOC, you know, Rick Caruso spoke about it earlier, how long it's been around, and the talent level from the start till now, you can't deny it.
So it's a little early yet, but, you know, after looking at the card tonight, what's your early prediction for Fight of the Night? Because, I mean, we're seeing some amazing talent on this card tonight. I got to be honest, I've seen a lot of amazing stuff happening here. I'm very excited to see what's happening at TOC 31. Before we get there, let's sit back to Rick Caruso to get this fight started.
Introducing our competitors for bout number 1. First, fighting out of the 8-1 Swords blue corner. This man is wearing the black trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing Team Legion, weighing in at 185.2 pounds. By way of Roanoke, Virginia, please welcome Sean the Reaper Shepardini. And his opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. This man is wearing the black and red Valley Tudors. He's an MMA fighter representing Matrix MMA, weighing in at 186 pounds even. From Salisbury, North Carolina, please welcome Darren Doomsday Williams.
All right. Marcelo Rodriguez is about to get this thing started, so let's see what's going to happen in the beginning of round 1 here. I'm pretty excited to see how this match is going to turn out between two amazing gyms and two great fighters here.
Get ready to get underway, Scott. There's a big crowd here tonight. I can't believe how many people have packed this place out. We're getting ready to get it underway.
Let's see what's going to happen here in round 1. I'm pretty excited. Here we go with Marcelo Rodriguez starting off the action.
Shepardini opens up with a leg kick. Looks like these two guys are going to come out and get right after it.
Yeah, they're definitely filling each other out here. That was a good...
He just barely missed.
Williams is definitely showing some work there with his legs. Shefferdine is going on the attack. Now, Keith, you get against the wall there. That's a little tricky. And that was a great takedown there.
Well, it was a good takedown. He got his hands behind the legs, got gripped up, and made that takedown. It was powerful. He made it look easy. We'll see what he can do with this top position.
Williams got the hooks in right now, so this could be dangerous for Sheffardino, but it looks like Williams is trying to get to a dominant position, maybe for a little ground and pound, but you know, definitely Sheffardino is kind of in some little trouble here. He needs to start working something and start improving position.
Yeah, Williams is in a really good position. Sheffardini's doing a good job, not taking a whole lot of damage just yet, but he's going to have to try to get out from under this, but he's got the grapevines in, and it's going to be hard. Good elbow from the top.
Yeah, that ground and pound is always a dangerous thing, so Sheffardino is really in some trouble. Looks like he might also almost get a rear naked choke right here.
He's under the neck. I think this might be over.
That is done. Wow. Just like that. Seriously, you gotta protect that neck, folks. I'm telling you, get that rear naked choke every time. If you don't get that neck down, you know that's over. Well, first round rear naked choke submission. by Darren Williams against Sean Shefferdino. But it looks like that was a very fun.
Your referee, Marcelo Rodriguez, calls a stop to this bout at 1 minute and 11 seconds of the first round. For your winner due to rear naked choke, Darren Doomsday Williams.
Pretty impressive performance out of Williams there. Shefferdino didn't have much answer there when he got on his back.
Well, he just ended up in a bad position early and had to give his back. And, but that's just it. It's his debut fight. Nothing to be ashamed of. Experience is the only way to get better.
Yeah, Shefferdino looks strong. Williams just came out with a good game plan, executed it really well, came out there and really showed a little dominance once he got on top there. So it looks like we have next coming up, we have James Bowman for the 135-pound Expo bout against Pedro Jimenez. So we're going to let this send it back to Rick Caruso to get this situated and announce this next fight. And we're going to talk a little about this round two here going up. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, your next TOC bout is sponsored by Circle K. This will be a 3-round, 140-pound Expo bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner by way of Marion, Virginia. Please welcome to the octagon, James Bowman.
So it looks like this is got bumped up to a catch weight. So James Bowman is independent out of Saltville, Virginia versus Pedro Jimenez, who is fighting from Ring Combat Sports here in Wytheville under Coach Greg Ring. Very excited to kind of see us Expo fights. Let's find out a little more information about these two fighters.
Well, the whole team at Ring Combat Sports talks about Pedro and how hard he works. His work ethic in the gym, everybody says, is second to none. Both of them has a little experience. Bowman has fought Logan Hurley, who's a former TOC champion. Pedro had one other fight. I think it was with Curtis Davis, and it was an Expo as well. He won that fight by choke. I can't remember what the choke was, but I remember he won by choke.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, James Bowman was a very tough competitor as he came up against Logan Hurley the first time. And I think this is a pretty good, bout when it comes against, two fighters, both of them coming through with a little bit of experience. Both are going to show kind of where they've come in their journey in jiu-jitsu. We're going to see kind of what's happening here. I mean, you see Bowman coming in here with a little more of a wrestling background. Pedro obviously is coming in with a little more of a MMA jiu-jitsu background. So it's going to be, rock hard place. Kind of see who's going to overcome this. Let's send it back to Rick Caruso.
From Wytheville, Virginia, by way of El Censo Asixico Chipas. Please welcome to the octagon, Pedro Toro Loco Jimenez.
Yeah, Pedro Jimenez, as we mentioned, tough fighter that's been training for a little over a year and a half now, actually, at Ring Combat Sports. Coach Greg Ring has had nothing but great things to say about Pedro and his work ethic, his production in the gym. I think this is going to be a really tough fight, and I think we're going to see, Bowman having his hands full when it comes to Jimenez's ability to attack and also be dominant on the ground.
Well, I think that Pedro Jimenez will be the stronger fighter. He's shorter. James Bowman is definitely going to be tall, and he can use his strength. He may find some advantage there over Pedro, but I think Pedro will definitely be the stronger fighter by looking at these two men.
Yeah, you definitely want to see where Bowman's going to come out with his, with his ability to, whether he's going to want to keep this a stand-up fight or whether he's going to want to try taking it to the ground with that wrestling background. Pedro seems to be one of those fighters that might be comfortable either way, a very hybrid fighter that might be tough to try to judge. So I'm curious to see where Bowman's fight camp's going to show where he's at. So let's send it back over to Rick Caruso and get this round number 2 started.
Introducing our competitors for this bout. First, fighting out of the A1 Storage Blue Corner. This man is wearing the black and white trunks. He's an independent fighter, a wrestler, weighing in at 142 pounds. By way of Marion, Virginia. Give it up for James Bowman. His opponent standing across the cage, fighting out of the Barney Construction Red Corner. He's wearing the black and silver Muay Thai trunks. He's a Ring Combat Jiu-Jitsu fighter representing Ring Combat Sports. Weighing in at 138.6 pounds. Fighting out of Wytheville, Virginia, by way of El Censo Asixico Chiapas. Please welcome Pedro
getting this started. We're going to see what's, both fighters as they progress so far in their journey. Pretty excited to kind of see, what they've learned, over the interval since their last time here in Titans of the Cage.
Well, you can tell Pedro, he's a hometown
He's a
favorite, man.
specimen, yeah.
He's got a lot of noise and a lot of hype and a lot of fans here, so hopefully he'll be able to put on a good performance for everybody.
Let's see what referee Kane Thompson gets this started here for fight number 2.
Let's go. Get him, Pedro. Here we go. Bowman takes the center of the octagon right off the bat here. Pedro comes out throwing hands.
Definitely a little tough to try to, in the beginning to try to kind of get a feel for each other. That was a good connect there. Those leg kicks can come back to bite you in the end. You don't feel them right away, but they will start showing up later in a fight if this thing goes very long.
I'll be honest with you, when you're that powerful, you start feeling them right away.
Absolutely. That was a good connect. Good right.
Open it up with the hands, and here comes the
There's Bowman trying to go for the ground.
Pedro's got the neck, though. Bowman may be in trouble here.
As you know, there's a lot of things you can do from that position. We might be looking at, Pedro trying for a guillotine.
A high elbow guillotine right now, and it's in there. I'm telling you right now. Yeah,
There we go. Wow. Standing guillotine. How about that? Pedro Jimenez with under a minute in the round. Dominant performance.
When you go to that high elbow guillotine, it's different. I mean, it's in a standing guillotine. That's a really super duper tight choke. It's one of my favorites.
And that's very tough to, as you know, in your fighting career, you've seen that multiple times. You've done that a couple times. And I'll tell you, those guillotines, they're a very nasty choke. And if you can get that thing in there, it's going to stick.
Yeah, he got it very tight. And a lot of times that's what happens to the wrestling guys in the jiu-jitsu world. Wrestling jiu-jitsu is a totally different skill set. We've seen jiu-jitsu win.
Your referee, Kane Thompson, calls a stop to this bout at 49 seconds of the very first round. For your winner by tap out through the standing guillotine, Pedro.
Yeah, very dominant performance by Jimenez. Definitely came out there with a good plan. He saw Bowman try to go for that takedown and was not having any of it and pulled him up for that standing guillotine. Definitely an amazing performance by Jimenez and definitely showing a lot of tact and progression.
Showed a lot of patience, and when the shot came and the neck was out there, he took it, and that's what jiu-jitsu guys do. So, good fight by both guys.
All right, looks like fight number 3 is going to be a 145-pound bout between Joseph Geilman and Dimitri Maybane. Let's send it back to Rick Caruso to get this next fight started.
This will be a 3-round featherweight, 145-pound bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. By way of Beaufort, South Carolina, please welcome to the TOC cage, Joseph Gelman.
So Joseph Gelman, coached by Abe Stern. Yeah, Abe Stem, Abe Stem from the Foundry Gym out of Beaufort, South Carolina, is going to be going up against Dimitri Maybane, who's coming out of Team Phoenix, coached by Graham Peru from Greensboro, North Carolina. Both these fighters are very familiar here with Titans of the Cage. I think fans would recognize both these guys that have come in here before.
Well, Graham Peru and his gym's been around Tennessee for a long time. The Foundry out of Beaufort, South Carolina, they came in the last few TOCs, and man, I tell you what, I've been really impressed with the caliber of fighter that they bring up here from South Carolina. So, I'm always excited when I see the Foundry on the card.
This is truly a Clash of Carolina here. We got some two really good fighters that have both shown up in past TOCs coming in tonight. So, that's 145, and we talked about this last TOC. That 145-pound weight class, that is a really tough class to be in these days.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner. By way of Greensboro, North Carolina, please welcome to the cage, Dimitri, the Crack Badger, Evans.
I actually like the nickname. That might be my favorite. Nickname ever. But going back to what you were talking about, the 145 class, man, it is a loaded division. The guys are athletic, they're big, they're strong, and the 145 weight class is full of killers. So I'm really excited to get this one underway.
Yeah, I feel like last TOC we saw a lot more 145s showing off a lot of talent. Tonight looks like we have about 3 bouts coming up for 145. But I'll tell you what, that title is going to be one heck of a title to try to keep up with as many folks coming through here, coming for Titans of the Cage. Very excited to see who's going to end up with that belt once that thing comes back on the market.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more when you say that. There's a lot of people hungry. Everybody says it, it's true. It's easy to get on top. It's hard to stay on top.
Absolutely. And if there is one weight class at Titans of the Cage that I am very excited for the future of, it's 145. So looking at these fighters, I mean, we've said before that, Team Phoenix is coming here and they always bring excellence. Their fighters are coming in here ready. They're coming in here hungry. Abe's gym down in South Carolina has definitely come in, very good record so far. The Foundry has done nothing but really made TOC a better exposition, and we're very excited to kind of see what's happening tonight as we're going to see these two killers coming out here between Dimitri Mabane and Joseph Gelman.
Moments away, Rick Caruso's getting ready to take control of the game. Heading into this guy.
First, fighting out of the A1 Storage Blue Corner. This man is wearing the orange and black Muay Thai trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing the Foundry MMA. Weighing in at 145 pounds flat by way of Beaufort, South Carolina. Make some noise for Joseph Gelman. His opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. This man is wearing the Black Valley Judos. He's an MMA fighter representing Team Phoenix. Weighing in at 147 pounds by way of Greensboro, North Carolina. Give it up for the Dimitri, the Crack Badger, Nevin.
Both of these guys are big 145ers.
Yeah. Maybe it came a little overweight, so, we're going to see how that affects a little bit. But, I'll tell you, when you get to this weight class, any type of drop in poundage or overage can sometimes be the difference between, having a good fight and having a great fight. It's an advantage that not many people realize that those 145s, every bit of pound of muscle you put on could be an extra pound of advantage. Let's send to Kane Thomas to get this thing started.
Touch of the gloves, and here we go. Nice inside leg kick by Mabane. Most fighters, you can tell they've been here before. They're extremely composed, filling out the range.
Virginia.
It's working.
Please welcome to the cage, Kyle, medium Frank, Frankenfield.
That one's working now.
Yeah, definitely. Frankenfield has definitely shown up during fight camp. He had a very impressive camp as he was kind of working his way through getting into the cage for the second time here, coming off a 1-0 start to his career in the amateurs. Isaiah Martin had a tough loss, but there's nothing that's going to say that he's going to be discounted. The Asheboro School of Martial Arts has definitely presented some really good fighters in the past, and I think this is going to be a good good bout between two fighters, both coming off of one match. Definitely anybody's match tonight. Let's send back to Rick Caruso to get our next fighter announced.
Introducing our competitors for this battle. First, fighting out of the A1 Storage Blue Corner. This man is wearing the white and gold Muay Thai trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing Asheboro School of Martial Arts. Weighing in at 164.2 pounds. By way of Asheboro, North Carolina, please welcome Isaiah Martin. His opponent standing across the cage in the Marty Construction red corner. He's wearing the black and orange Valley Tudos. He's a ring combat jiu-jitsu fighter representing Ring Combat Sports. Weighing in at 164.6 pounds by way of Blytheville, Virginia. Please welcome Kyle, medium Frank, Frankenfield. Your referee, Marcelo Rodriguez.
Here we go. Marcelo brings them to the center for the final instructions. We're getting ready to get this thing underway. He's got the arm strap. He just needs to buck this way. He's got the ankle strap and everything. You're going the wrong way. Yeah. He's got it all trapped. He's come this way. All right, TSC fans, sorry we had a little technical difficulty. What you missed is Zay Martin took a nice shot and went right to mount on Kyle Frankenfield. He's working on a head and arm choke right now, and he was really close to it, and Kyle did a great job defending. And he's created a nice scramble, but now Zay Martin has the back, and it looks like he may be under the chin.
That's a very tough. Oh, he taps. He definitely got the rear naked on that one. Kyle definitely didn't get that neck protected. I'll tell you, that's tough. When you start getting that in there deep, you might as well tap because all you're going to do is be put to sleep.
Well, the choke was there and the hip got flattened out, so, good job by Zay Martin.
Yeah, Zay Martin definitely had a good game plan coming out here. Even at 0-1, it goes to show you that, a lot of these fighters coming in here, they come up against a really good opponent. They come in here, they got something to prove. He proved it tonight against Kyle Frankenfield. Let's send it back to Rick Caruso to get this thing finished up.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 2 minutes and 1 second of the very first round, your referee, Marcelo Rodriguez, calls a stop to this bout. For your winner, due to tap out from rear naked choke, Isaiah Martin.
Definitely a tough loss of Frankenfield, going 1-1. Now we got Zay Martin coming in also at 1-1. So definitely the future's bright for both these fighters. We kind of see what's going to happen in the future as they both kind of get back in here and compete.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see both of these fighters again.
Before we move on to our next bout, I'd like to give a big round of applause for Guardian Construction right here over here in our red corner sponsor. Give it up for them. Your next TOC bout is sponsored by Sheets of Women. This will be a 3-round, 215-pound cruiserweight bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner by way of Roanoke, Virginia. Give it up for Pastor Jonathan Dalton.
You know, I got to be honest, early on, this was going to be one of my early picks for Fight of the Night because Jonathan Dalton came out last fight against Chris Spencer and showed up. But he's coming up against a legend of the ring as it is, against Cody Pryor, a guy who has had nothing but success at TOC. He's fought some of the biggest and baddest guys TOC has had to offer. I'm very excited to kind of see what's going to happen here in this next round.
Well, Scott, I'll tell you what I'm interested in. This is the heaviest Cody Pryor's ever fought. You know, Cody Pryor used to fight down, around
the 185s,
170, 185. And Jonathan Dalton, he showed power in his Chris Spencer fight. So, if Cody can come in and, sometimes jumping a weight class will affect your cardio a little. These guys are definitely going to bang. I promise you that.
Yeah, Dalton definitely was impressive last bout. But coming from a heavyweight down to that cruiserweight, he's definitely shown that his fight camps have been very impressive, and he's been hungry. I think even last bout he was starting to call out the 215 champ.
Yeah, you're right. He did. I don't know. I don't know if he quite, got the experience for that, but we'll see.
Red corner by way of Covington, Virginia. Please welcome to the cage, Cody, the Outlaw Pryor.
Yeah, Cody Pryor has fought some of the biggest, baddest guys TOC has had to offer in that weight class, and has definitely been one of those guys that we were excited to see back in the cage. He's had a little time off here.
Cody Pryor is a former TOC champion, and I think it was 170 or 185. He was a former champion. Cody does have a lot of experience. He's fought tough guys. And, man, Cody always comes to fight. He comes and he swings. I'm excited to see what he looks like in a heavier weight class.
So little details here. Jonathan Dalton's coming out of Modern Gladiators out of Roanoke, Virginia, coached by Antoine Curtis. Coming up against Cody Pryor from Team Legion. Legion's definitely had a good amalgamation of fighters coming in from Covington, Virginia. Definitely very excited to kind of see how this bout's going to come about.
Well, these gyms, Team Legion and Modern Gladiator, they're close to each other. They work together. They know each other well. There's no animosity between these gyms. They're all friends. So I'm ready to see them get it on.
Pryor definitely shows up a little more muscular than I've seen him in the past.
Fighting out of the A1 Storage blue corner. This man is wearing the black and red Savage Combat Sports trunks. He's a boxer representing Modern Gladiator, weighing in at 213 pounds by way of Roanoke, Virginia. Please welcome Pastor Jonathan Dalton. His opponent standing across the cage in the Guardian Construction red corner. This man is wearing the black Valley Judos. He's an MMA fighter representing Team Outlaw, weighing in at 212.2 pounds by way of Covington, Virginia. Make some noise for Cody, the Outlaw Pryor.
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you, Scott Martin.
Referee Marcelo Rodriguez.
Cody Pryor looks a lot bigger than 212. This weight class looks good on him. I got to be honest. He looks strong and he looks, to be in good cardio shape. He's definitely the bigger fighter here. So, I'm excited to see. But, you know, you can't discount that power that Dalton showed in his last fight. So,
You know, definitely jumping up a weight class can pose challenges, but it looks like Pryor's showing it well. So let's see what's going to happen here with Dalton. Pryor's ability to kind of work his way. It looks like Pryor's going to be aggressive very fast.
they both landed a couple good kicks and into the takedown. And Cody's in a good position right here. I'd like to see him turn his base over and sit out a little bit. But Cody's always did a good job maintaining top control, top pressure, and dealing out ground and pound. So Dalton looking for the arm bar, but the arm was a little far back for it. Cody's landed some pretty good shots. He's going to switch it over to the Elvis side, but Cody doing a pretty good job defending and still landing pretty good ground and pound.
Yeah, Dalton's taking some punishment here. Pryor has definitely landed some pretty heavy hits so far. Dalton is showing a little impressive work with his legs, but this is not looking good.
Looks like he's got the guillotine. It looks like it's in pretty deep, too. Like the face is turning red pretty instantly. But, you know, Dalton's coaches, you know, they have a good jiu-jitsu background, so I'm sure that he knows how to defend it. But that looks like it's in there pretty deep. If Cody can roll to the top and hold that, it's going. He let it go. Heavy ground and pound.
I tell you, you gotta jump out of that pretty quick if you're Dalton.
Yeah, Dalton's in a bad spot. His head's up against the cage, and he's got a big, powerful man sitting on top of him landing hard shots. Dalton did a good job getting his head off the cage, but he's going to have to get his
Pryor's gonna
back
get
up.
the rear naked.
That's in there deep. I don't
There's
think
nothing
he can
happening.
take that.
Yep, there we go. Rear naked, Pryor. You know, jumping that weight class did not do any problem with that. Tell you, we're seeing a lot of rear naked chokes tonight, Keith. I'll tell you, very dominant performance.
Well, the judges are not getting any work either. We haven't had a single fight make it out of the first
That's
round.
right. Tell you, pretty dominant performance. Pryor definitely came in here with a mission, came through and delivered his message. Let's send it back to Rick Caruso to go ahead and finish off this round. Looks like Dalton might have gotten cut up a little bit, taking a little bit of extra time here. You know, going back, Pryor has definitely been dominant in 170 and 185. It looks like he might be making some noise in the 215s.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, he looks like he's made for the weight class. He came in 13 under the limit, so, you know, he could actually put on a little more and still, you know, easily make weight. So, be exciting to see, you know, where Cody's future is.
Marcelo Rodriguez comes us back in this bout at 1 minute and 40 seconds of his very first round. For your winner by tap out to the rear naked choke, Cody the Outlaw Pryor.
Well, you asked. I mean, that's what you know.
We'd like to thank our immense sponsors this evening: Martin Construction, A1 Store, Chris Fox Realtors, and GMX Landscaping. Thank you guys very much for supporting the fighters tonight.
Our next fight's going to be a 160-pound bout between Manuel Furtado and Upright Otomina.
It is sponsored by West Tire and Buffalo. This will be a 3-round, 160-pound bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner by way of Beaufort, South Carolina. Please welcome to the cage, Manuel Furtado.
You know, Manuel Furtado is coming out of the Foundry Gym from Abe Sim again out of Beaufort, South Carolina. Amazing pedigree coming out of that gym. You know, Coach Abe has definitely had nothing but good things to say about Furtado and the way his fight camp went out. Coming up against a really impressive candidate against Upright Otomina, coming from Hayeston MMA with coaches Tom Ziegler and Kevin Forant out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, Scott, actually, you know, they've got probably the most famous person I ever shook hands with. Brian Battle trains there, and for those of you who don't know, he just won the UFC Tough House super humble guy, super nice guy, man. Believes in himself. Hopefully he'll, be able to take that a long way, and we'll be able to see, what his teammates has to offer tonight.
Yeah, Manuel definitely comes in here, a great competitor, came in on short notice. I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a fighter. Comes in and helps out with promotion when someone backs out. When you're able to come in and short notice, come in and accept a fight, that says something about your character.
You do have to always respect it when a fighter takes a fight on super short notice. I've did it before, and it's definitely an advantage to have a whole fight camp behind you. But I'm sure this guy's ready. He comes from a good gym. Most of those guys stay ready. So.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner, by way of Charlotte, North Carolina, please welcome to the octagon, upright, Oda Mena.
We've said it before, but Oda Mena has had a lot of hype coming out of Payson MMA here. Brian Battle, their gym has had some amazing performers that have come out. One of the first times we've seen those guys starting to show up, but I'll tell you, tough gym. I think this is going to be a battle here.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron, and that's a fact. And when you've got tough guys and high-level guys in your gym, you're just going to keep producing high-level guys. So I'm really excited to see this bout.
We're going to see a lot of stuff coming out of the 160s. We've got another bout coming up here later with Clay Bucci and Luke Kinser. Another one of my early fight of the night contenders. Luke Kinser coming out of a very impressive, fights. His record hasn't really shown as much talent as I think he has, but I'll got to be honest. Bucci has been a tough competitor, and I think that Luke Kinser-Bucci fight might be something to keep an eye on later.
I'll tell you, if you want my honest-to-God pick for fight of the night, I'm going a little later in the card. I'm going Lewis Glover and Denver Lopez.
That is going to be exciting. I'm going to tell you what, folks, that's going to be one of those knockout dragouts that hopefully pays the price of admission. So let's send it back over to Rick Caruso to get this thing knocked off.
First, fighting out of the A1 Stores blue corner, this man is wearing the black and gold trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing the Foundry MMA. Weighing in at 154.6 pounds, by way of Beaufort, South Carolina, please welcome Manuel Furtado. His opponent, standing across the cage in the Bourne Construction red corner, this man is wearing the red trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing Hyoscene MMA, weighing in at 160.6 pounds, by way of Charlotte, North Carolina, please welcome upright Oda Mena.
Oda Mena is definitely coming in here with a little bit of a game plan for this. Let's see what Kane Tomlinson does as we get this round started off. Excited to see where Furtado Oda Mena is going to show up. Oda Mena is definitely showing up as a specimen tonight.
I'll tell you what, Oda Mena is a giant 160-pound man. He's definitely going to be the stronger fighter, I think. But he has range too. But we're getting ready to see.
And that's where fight camps come in so important. You never know what's going to happen. When you have a really good fight camp, you come in with a good game plan. You may not look like you know it, but you show up. Oda Mena is definitely coming out very aggressive. Really good connections here.
Well, nice footwork by him. Really good angles, and then he started landing the hands, and he let them go very fast. He's getting in there on the neck, and nice job, getting underhooks.
Let's be honest, this seems to be almost a guillotine night here. I think almost every fight we've seen so far has had at least that tried once or twice.
Well, Furtado did a good job defending that. He did all the right things, but he's still not in the clear. If Oda Mena could get those hands and get that elbow high up in the air, Furtado may be in some trouble. Furtado's doing a great job defending, staying out of trouble.
Yeah, he's working up against the cage, definitely trying to prevent Oda Mena from trying to get open space. There he goes, gets him up against the cage. It's something you always want to try to prevent. You want to make sure you keep Oda Mena kind of controlled. He's got a dominant position right now, but...
Well, Oda Mena's done a good job keeping his base wide, and, Furtado was looking for the takedown, but Oda Mena jumped guard going for the guillotine, and good defense by Furtado. Now we'll get the
showing up a little bit with some of his good skill here. Keeps Furtada and a great takedown there.
A strong double leg from Odomina. Furtada did a good job getting back to half guard, but Odomina landed a couple powerful shots.
So far, this match has been nothing but Odomina having his way with Furtada. Furtada has shown up, has definitely had a really good defense, but he's not really showing a lot of aggressive offense against Odomina's overwhelming aggressiveness in his first round.
Odomina doing a good job staying on top and applying pressure. We're down again. Oh! 10 seconds. Right.
There we go. Definitely an amazing first round as we saw some really good striking there at the end. I'm not sure if our feed cut out, but Odomina was laying the stick down to Furtado, and Furtado was lucky to get out of that round.
Oh, that was savage ground and pound right up against the fence at the last of the round. I think the live feed may have cut out for a second, but Furtado lucky to survive that round.
Well, coming into round two here, I think Odomina has a great game plan. All he has to do is kind of keep that up. Furtada has to start showing a little more aggression here to start trying to turn around a little bit and starts trying to work around his game plan.
You can see the ground and pound on Furtada's face. I mean, he's tough. He took it.
Yeah, he's taking a little damage after that round one, so let's see what happens if that's going to get in his head some as he starts to kind of recalibrate his game plan here for round two.
Both guys landed a couple good shots on the feet there.
It's impressive. Furtado has not given up yet. He's definitely showing back. Oh, those kicks. I'll tell you what, I'll get you every time.
Furtada's having a little bit of trouble with the range. Man, powerful leg kick. Oh!
Yeah, you're definitely seeing, Furtada taking some damage here, sticking with it. Odomina has been really dominant so far in this second round. Definitely continuing on his performance. a no-brainer who's winning. But I mean, Furtado's tough, man. Good God, the kid is taking some stuff. He's taking some hits and just.
That's one of those deals. These guys do not even look like they could possibly be in the same weight class. It's a motherfucker though when you've got a guy that's that skilled and that that much longer than you. That's
Oh, dude.
you know.
I mean, you can't feel bad for Furtado. I mean, like he's not really. I mean, he's not even a bad fighter.
Well, he hasn't quit. Like he's still. He's just the range is killing him, and when he finds it, he's getting took down. I mean, obviously, that dude is strong, and he's very skilled. That was a stiff game, I'm gonna tell you. You know, I'm interested in how compact this guy is.
Oh, dude.
As long as he is. But he
No, he's been. He has been consistent.
but he's been super efficient.
Oh yeah.
And taking a fight late, being that muscular.
No. Well, I think it was this kid that took the fight. That's the tall kid. All right. Well, sorry for the technical difficulties, but let me tell you, you guys have missed one heck of a round 3 here. Otamina has been putting on a class. Furtado has been showing how to be tough. I mean, these two competitors have been nothing but impressive over 3 rounds here. It looks like it's going to come down to the bell here at the very end, but let me tell you, Keith, been really impressed with this entire fight so far.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like from the fight card tonight, this is a lock so far for fight of the night, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, Otamina has thrown efficient, incredible strikes, have connected, but Furtado, for taking a fight last minute, has been one of the toughest competitors I've seen for taking damage in quite a while. I don't think it's going to be enough to get him out with a W here, but I got to be honest, I want to see more Furtado. I definitely want to see more Otamina. This kid has been really impressive so far. 10 seconds left.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure the 155 and 170 pound weight class, the fighters have took notice of Otamina.
Absolutely. I got to be honest. This was so far an impressive display out of the 160 pounds between Manuel Furtado and Upright Otamina. If I were scoring it right now, Otamina definitely wins the unanimous decision. But I mean, the fact that it came down to this was impressive. I thought early on Otamina was going to come out with a knockout, but Furtado came back and just kept on battling.
Yeah, definitely, definitely tough. Definitely fight of the night so far.
So 160-pound bout between Manuel Furtado and Upright Otamina. Let's send it back here to Rick Caruso to finish up this fight and see who's going to win.
Ladies and gentlemen, after decision. All three judges scored this fight the same, 30-27 across the board. For your winner, fighting out of the red corner, upright, Hogamina.
An impressive fight from Haston MMA. I'll tell you what, his coaches have to be really proud of this young man.
I hate that he cut out old Dennis, man. This was a damn barn burner.
Yeah, round number 7 between C.W. Ferguson and Brandon Webb is going to be a scratch. So we're going to move on to round number 8. Leslie Steiner and April Klein for the 140-pound kickboxing bout. Let's send to Rick Caruso to go ahead and take off the next bit of action.
Ladies and gentlemen, your next TOC bout is sponsored by Starks Lawn Care. This will be 3 2-minute rounds in a 140-pound kickboxing bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner by way of Hickory, North Carolina. Please welcome to the TOC cage, Leslie Steiner.
You know, this is one of those fights that you love to see. Leslie Steiner, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, going up against April Klein, who is holding right now, if I'm not mistaken, the TOC record for most tickets sold in the promotion. But Leslie Steiner's fighting out of Atlantic MMA from Hickory, North Carolina, coached by Jonathan Stamey, versus April Klein, who's coming from Advantage MMA from Princeton, West Virginia, coached by Derek Lambert.
Yeah, you know, Derek Lambert and Advantage MMA, they've been around TOC for a long time, brought a lot of good fighters. Derek, you know, is quite a boxer himself. We're getting ready to see, this is April's debut, but, you know, she's been training for a long time, and I think she's ready to go.
You know, when it comes to kickboxing bouts, you know, Leslie is no lightweight. She's gone up against the likes of Joy Miller, and we've seen her come up against some very hard opponents in the past in the ladies' divisions.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely, you know, she definitely belongs here, knows what she's doing. A lot of hype behind April Klein, but, you know, we'll see how it turns out.
Princeton, West Virginia, please welcome to the octagon, the Black Mamba, April
I think April Klein might have some fans here tonight.
Yeah, I think this might be the loudest I've ever heard it.
Very impressed. April Klein comes in here with an amazing fight camp, has had nothing but great things. Her coaches told me last night they're very high on April Klein and how far she can go. They said that she came out with a really good fight camp and has really shown up so far during her training period here, coming up in this bout against Leslie Steiner.
I'm super excited. I always like to see the women fight. You know, it just brings something else to the table you don't get to see all the time.
That's right. You know, this is going to be a kickboxing expo bout, so this is going to be something pretty exciting. Not going to be the same as MMA rules, but pretty exciting to kind of see how these ladies are going to come out here. And you don't usually see a lot of knockouts, but hey, anything could happen tonight.
this female kickboxing bout. First, fighting out of the A1 Storage blue corner, she is wearing the black outfit with pink trim. She is a boxer, representing Atlantic MMA, weighing in at 136.8 pounds, by way of Hickory, North Carolina. Make some noise for Leslie Steiner. Her opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. She is wearing the yellow and black outfit. She is a boxer, representing Advantage Martial Arts, weighing in at 137.4 pounds, from Princeton, West Virginia. Please welcome the Black Mamba, April Klein.
Wow, this place just erupted for April Klein.
Well, Scott, I'm going to tell you right now, Leslie Steiner looks relaxed and calm. April Klein looked like she's ready to kill somebody. So,
Leslie has an impressive record, coming off of a loss at her last fight in Spartanburg, but she has come out and she's been a competitor every time. This will be a really good expo, kind of bringing out the first bout here for April Klein, coming up against a seasoned veteran like Leslie Steiner.
Klein definitely takes the center of the octagon and pushes her up against the fence, but both ladies throwing a lot of punches. Klein landing a couple powerful shots.
Steiner has been taking a lot of hits so far, but let's be honest, you don't see a lot of knockouts in kickboxing, but the way that Klein's throwing them out here, it's not going to be something that would surprise you too much if she keeps connecting like that.
Klein landed some pretty powerful shots against the cage. That's another powerful shot. Klein doing a good job coming over the top with that right hand. Oh, big shot by Steiner. It hit the shoulder, but big power behind it.
Yeah, Klein's being super aggressive. That can be a detriment, though, later. If she starts running out of gas, she's got to be careful about, expending energy so quick in the first round.
Well, Klein did a good job landing a punch off of the kick that Steiner threw and got her back up against the fence, and she landed quite a few shots again before being separated by Kane Tomlinson.
Just a flurry of action by April Klein. Steiner is being a little more composed, taking the damage, but, Klein is definitely putting on an expo on strikes here.
Steiner has threw a lot of shots, but April Klein has threw a lot of good counter punches, and she's landed those counter punches, and I think that's where her advantage is coming from right now.
Looks like we're getting a little blood coming from Steiner. Never a good sign when you start getting some of that. That can be disconcerting. Your fighter starts to kind of think about it, and you start getting some cuts.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm Steiner's coach, the problem I see is she's not committing to the kicks. She's throwing kind of soft, kicks, and she's not fully committing to them, and Klein is landing a lot of punches just like right there off of those kicks. So, I think if Steiner's corner can make the adjustment and, get her to commit to those kicks and sit down on her punches, I think things will change in the second round.
Impressive first round. April Klein definitely came out there as the aggressor. Had a lot of things going for her, a flurry of stuff. She didn't look like she was gassed towards the end. And I gotta be honest, a lot of first-time fighters come out there. They get the jitters. They start throwing some wild stuff. But Klein was very precise, even though she threw a ton of strikes. Steiner just took them, came through. A really good first round.
Like I said, I really would like to see Steiner commit to those kicks, because almost every time that she got a big shot landed on her, it started with a kick that she wasn't totally committed to, and April did a great job of counter punching off of them. So hopefully, they'll get that adjustment made. And
absolutely, you definitely want to see more power on those inside leg strikes, and then even some of the outsides. Something to kind of start, distracting April Klein's flurry, because you want to try to get her off balance if you're in Steiner's corner. Let's see what kind of adjustments Steiner's going to make, and from April Klein's corners, I think you just want to keep, you want to hold through the next round.
Let's go, Cookie. Oh, if I was in April's corner, I would just ask for more of the same. Yes.
There we go.
She's sitting out on that kick. She actually, she threw it, landed it, and I like the adjustment.
Yeah, you're hearing the corners talking to Steiner, telling her to circle a little more. Try and prevent, Klein from getting those easy strikes. If you try to kind of keep on the outside there, sometimes it's a little harder for opponents like Klein to connect as you're kind of, circling always out and trying to always kind of make that space. Oh, look at that. Steiner almost connected there. She has to do something. Up against the fence is not a good place for her right now. Klein is definitely...
Sorry, folks, we keep having technical difficulties. Sorry, folks, we had some technical difficulties, and we were getting a little bit of blood wiped up off the commentator table.
Steiner's bleeding a little bit, and it's always a risky habit. But I got to be honest, competitor, she's not giving up. Definitely sticking in there, but Klein has delivered some damage. Definitely got some cuts on Steiner, and sometimes that's distracting in its own right. But Steiner's not giving up.
Steiner's did a good job. She's made the adjustment that I hoped she would make.
It's not appearing to be enough to overcome Klein, and her. Klein had an aggressive offense and has definitely kind of had an impressive show so far.
Well, her counter punching has been the big difference in this fight, and
Yeah, I got to be honest. So far, we're seeing nothing but offense coming off of Klein, and Steiner has shown a few good licks, but it's not been enough to really overcome Klein's confidence. Klein, for a first time Expo, has come out and has really shown that she's a competitor, and Steiner is in some trouble here coming into round number 3.
Well, Steiner's fighting hard, and with your nose bleeding and the blood running back and having to breathe out of your mouth, it kind of tests your cardio a little bit. Plus, the shots add up a little more, when you're breathing with your mouth open. So, be curious to see how the third round plays out here. Definitely been a great fight so far.
What's your suggestions for Steiner if you're coming into round 3 here? You've seen Klein been dominant so far. What adjustments would you make?
Well, Steiner's just got to go for broke. I mean, obviously, she's still dancing and still light on her feet in the corner. So, she's got enough cardio to come out and push the third round, and she's just going to have to do it.
Klein just continues with just punishing strikes to the face.
Well, she went to the body some there in that exchange, too. And, Klein's just been able to get Steiner on the fence, and that's where she's done all of her damage.
Steiner needs to connect a little more with those inside and outside leg kicks. Definitely needs to start working some of those to try to break Klein's concentration. But so far, Klein has been a woman on a mission, has been absolutely dominant so far.
She's definitely came out and lived up to the hype behind her. She's looked really good.
Oh! Wow! What a connect there. Steiner came in there with a good jab. This is the Leslie Steiner we were waiting to show up for, and she's showing up here in the third. Let's wonder if it's going to be enough.
Well, they're still fighting as hard in the third round as they did the first round. Nice straight shot by April Klein.
Starting to see some gas kind of coming out. Both fighters appears to be kind of settling in, and definitely looks like the tank's starting to go a little bit on E, but they're still coming out here fighting with everything they have. Ten seconds left. Klein has been dominant so far, but Steiner has shown up here a little more in the third than what we've seen in the last 2 rounds. An impressive Expo bout for April Klein against the veteran Leslie Steiner, but I got to be honest, if I'm scoring this, I think it's unanimous decision for April Klein. Keith, I don't know if I've ever heard this thing quite this loud here.
No, I really think, I said it a while ago, I think this is the loudest I've ever heard it. But, good fight put on by both ladies. Both camps well represented here.
Let's sit back to Rick Caruso to finish this up.
Give it up for these ladies. They're going to talk back. your winner, fighting out of the red corner,
A little surprising. I figured a unanimous decision, but apparently the judges must have seen something that I didn't see. But, you know, I got to be honest, impressive by April Klein's intro into the kickboxing world. Let's, you know, very excited to kind of see a young fighter come out here and being dominant against a veteran who knows how to come out here. And for these ladies, this was a great show. Both these fighters came out here and were maybe so far some of the most punishing bouts we've seen so far, this entire card so far.
Well, they left it all on the mat, and we've got a definite contender in the running again for fight of the night.
Wow. Very impressive. Our next bout's going to be a 145-pound bout between Gavin Thomas and Patrick Schaefer. Let's send it back to Rick Caruso to get it started.
This will be a 3-round, 145-pound featherweight battle. Introducing first, fighting out of Lincolnton, North Carolina. Please welcome to the octagon, Gavin Lights Out Thomas.
You know, we said it before, that 145-pound weight class is a very tough weight class. This is another one of those that I was very excited about early on in the card. Gavin Thomas coming out of Team Saga out of Denver, North Carolina. His coach is George White. Coming up against Patrick Schaefer, also from Hyaston MMA, Tom Ziegler, Kevin Forant out of Charlotte. Another Hyaston MMA fighter coming in here, just like we saw in Odema. And I got to be honest, very excited to kind of see these 145s because, as we mentioned earlier, this is the weight class where we're seeing the most competition in TOC these days.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You know, Gavin, he had a pretty impressive knockout at the last TOC. I think this is Patrick's first fight in the TOC, but like I said, comes from an incredible gym, you know, a lot of high-level talent. So, you know, it's always cool to see how they stack up against the rest of the talent that comes in here.
Yeah, Team Saga is you know, no pushovers. We've seen them in TOCs in the past and have always come up with really good competitors. So really curious to see how Talamus is going to come in here to, you know, with his game plan. Saga has always been very aggressive when it comes to, you know, coming out here to fight. And as we saw with the Odemina fight earlier, you know, Hyaston is a real deal. I mean, this gym is showing up tonight. I still can't get over, you know, how those ladies, I mean, that was a heck of a kickboxing expo.
Well, these guys are going to have a tough time following that fight. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner by way of Matthews, North Carolina. Please welcome to the TOC cage, Patrick Schaefer.
Yeah. Gavin Thomas came out, you know, last TOC with a really impressive KO. And I got to be honest, when we saw that last one, I was really kind of excited because that was one of the bumper crops of the 145s. These 145s can fly around the cage, and we're going to see that, you know, I think the same thing happening tonight. These 145s are going to come out here. They're fast, they are strong, and they come out there for blood.
I'm kind of waiting for Patrick to make his way into the cage. Yeah, you know, Gavin Thomas is one of the smaller 45ers we've seen tonight, and I always like to see the difference in the size of the competitors at 145.
Yeah, but that 45 weight class has continuously been one of those super contested bouts that has shown that we have some incredible talent here on the TOC promotion that I don't think you're going to see a lot of other promotions. You know, you'll usually have a very good even keel, but this 145 is just a killer slate of pretty serious athletes that we have coming out.
I'm liking the Johnny Cash walkout music.
Something to be said for having an amazing walkout song. That's half the battle in itself is picking out what your song's going to be. Let's send to Rick Caruso to get this fight started.
Introducing our competitors for this bout. First, fighting out of the A1 Storage Blue Corner. This man is wearing the black and gold Venom Valley Tudos. He's an MMA fighter representing Team Side Combat. Weighing in 146 pounds even, by way of Lincolnton, North Carolina. Please welcome Gavin Lights Out Thomas. His opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. This man is wearing the black and white MMA trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing highest in MMA. Weighing in at 146.2 pounds. From Matthews, North Carolina, please welcome Patrick Schaefer.
Both these fighters coming in here with a little bit of range. Definitely a little taller for 145s. A lot of times you see a lot more compact 145s coming out here. So kind of curious, will that mean more of an upright fight or a little more leg strikes than what we normally see for the 45 weight class?
I'll tell you what's impressed me. Gavin Thomas is cool as the other side of the pillow, man. You would never look at that young man and think he's getting ready to fight.
Hey, just another day at work here.
Yeah, you can tell he's ready. Both guys quick and light on the feet. Oh, good straight shot. Nice timing on the shot by Gavin.
Push the face away.
Good takedown.
And Gavin fought really hard for that takedown, and Patrick was able to get right back up, and now he's got his back on the fence again.
That fence work is where your footwork is so important. You're seeing both these guys having really good footwork to try to keep that cage, right on your back. You don't want to try to, have that easy takedown. You want to make sure your feet are in really good position. Both these guys are doing really good jobs kind of maintaining position here.
Gavin went for the trip and almost gave up his back. Good job recovering on that, and he's got Patrick up against the fence again. This is the grueling part of cage fighting, is the cage work. Between the hand fighting and the head fighting, and this is where a lot of energy is spent. Real close on that knee by Patrick. Gavin Thomas has got his hands connected in the double underhook position. We'll see what he can do with it. And Patrick Schaefer's just barely missed on a couple of those knees. Just barely.
Gavin has been working pretty hard. If he can kind of get that takedown, kind of work off that cage. But so far, Patrick is.
Well, those last two knees by Patrick Schaefer landed pretty good to the body, so those add up on you through the course of the fight.
Oh, that was a knee that connected.
It did connect, but
it was a glancing blow.
It was a glancer, but a lot of fights have been ended that way.
Yep. It's more of a surprise that it happens more than anything else.
Patrick's really close to taking the back here. He has taken the back now, landing some hard body shots.
He is almost in a rear naked position.
Well, he's trying to soften him up, to possibly get that forearm under the chin, but these body shots he's landing from the top are hard.
Patrick definitely has a little more reach, a little more height on it, which has given him the advantage. Now he's getting to the ground.
Well, Patrick did a good job making him carry his weight, and he's got a seat belted him. He's getting
almost
really
there.
Close to being under the chin.
That chin, and I think he might.
I can't tell from here, but I think he might be under there.
He does. Yep. Another rear neck. I got to be honest. We're seeing almost a clinic in rear naked chokes tonight. Patrick Schaefer for the win by rear naked choke for the 145-pound bout. Gavin Thomas came out there with a good plan. Just wasn't enough.
Well, it's another win, for Hayestan MMA. They're
so far impressive
tonight. So all their fighters look really good. That was a good fight.
Yeah, Schaefer had that extra height on him.
calls a stop to this fight at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. For your winner, by tap out due to rear naked choke, Patrick Schaefer.
Yeah, Schaefer definitely had a dominant performance there. Used his height to his great advantage, got him off the cage, and kind of broke, kind of was able to get to that neck and got that rear naked choke and absolutely kind of finished the fight in that first round. Very, very impressive performance. Let's send it back to Rick Caruso for our next bout. Which will be a 160-pound bout between Corey Brewster and Bobby Collins. This is one of those I'm kind of excited to see happen. And we've seen Bobby Collins coming in. We'll talk more about him in a minute. Let's send back to Rick Caruso to get it situated.
Your next TOC bout is sponsored by Team Scott Storm. This will be a 3-round, 165-pound catchweight bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, by way of Tazewell, Virginia. Please welcome to the octagon, Corey Brewster.
A very exciting match between Corey Brewster and Bobby Collins. Corey Brewster is an independent fighting out of Tazewell, Virginia. Coming up against Bobby Collins, who's a Ring Combat Sports veteran here, coming from Greg Ring here in Wytheville, Virginia. Pretty excited to kind of see what these two fighters are going to come up against.
Well, Brewster's a barber in Tazewell, Virginia. He's making his TOC debut. He's going to try his hands at a little MMA. I'm going to tell you something. Bobby Collins is a ginormous 165-pound fighter. I haven't seen Bobby this week. I don't know what he looks like at 165.
He's tough.
But Bobby is a big 165er. I can't wait to see Corey Brewster and see what the matchup looks like.
Yeah, Brewster coming from a little bit more of, we've seen this a couple times, but coming from more of a wrestling background, and we've seen that a couple times tonight and throughout, TOCs in the past where, you get one of these wrestlers, they can be top tier in the state, but you come up against these guys who know jiu-jitsu and MMA, and it's a whole different thing.
Well, Bobby Collins is definitely going to be the bigger fighter.
By way of Wytheville, Virginia, please welcome to the TOC cage, Bobby, the Bland County Bad Boy, Collins.
Yeah, you were 100% right. Coach Greg Ring told me before the match that, Bobby Collins has been one of those fighters that he's very high on his list, has put in a really good fight camp, and has been progressing over the last couple of months since his last TOC debut. And he thinks that, this is going to be one of those guys that has a little bit of range and could potentially make some noise in some of the, middleweight classes here.
Well, Bobby's last fight was a real tough decision win over John Colson. And I'm going to tell you something. I was pretty impressed with John Colson in that fight. John Colson come out, man, he showed a lot of toughness, a lot of aggressiveness. Bobby Collins, like I said, he is a really big 165er. You can see him coming into the cage now. I mean, that's a big 165er. Bobby's cardio got tested a little bit by the end of that last fight. So,
First, fighting out of the A1 Storage blue corner. This man is wearing the black and graffiti lion trunks. He's a freestyle fighter, an independent fighter weighing in at 164.2 pounds. By way of Tazewell, Virginia, please welcome Corey Brewster. His opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. He's wearing the black and white trunks. He's a Ring Combat Jiu-Jitsu fighter, representing Ring Combat Sports, weighing in at 165.8 pounds.
One thing you see coming out of this a lot of times is these independents coming in here. They need to find gyms sometimes because you don't see very many independents coming up against guys out of gyms that usually have a good advantage. This might be one of them that we have to kind of keep an eye on. But if you're really serious about getting into the sport, and Brewster might want to consider coming out for a gym because that's definitely one of those things that can help improve independence. Even
Brewster starts out with two really nice inside leg kicks. I mean, really nice. Answered by Bobby Collins. Hey, man, this Brewster kid's very powerful. Bobby Collins didn't look like he liked that a whole lot.
That's
It
right.
landed hard to the body. careful. Like, he threw 3 kicks, 2 to the legs and 1 to the body. And Bobby has to keep those hands. Oh, nice. Great shot by Bobby Collins, but Brewster ate that. Nice, hard leg kick again by Brewster. Bobby's still carrying that right arm just a little bit low. I think he's still feeling that body kick just a little bit. Nice, hard body shots, 2 to the body and 1 to the head by Brewster. Nice cage work. Oh, big knee to the head. Collins answers back with a knee to the body, but there wasn't as much on it as there was on Brewster's. I'm not sure how much weight Bobby Collins cuts to make 165, but this is going to test his cardio right here. This is a grueling style of a fight right now.
Yeah, you get up against a cage like that, it's always a tough thing to answer for a lot of fighters.
Brewster needs to turn. Bobby Collins is pretty close to taking his back. He needs to let this headlock go and turn. He did a good job getting out of there. Another pretty nice inside leg kick. Not nearly on that what there was the first one, but that one was nice.
We're seeing Brewster getting a little gas, seems like, so we're kind of curious if cardio is going to come into a play later on in this fight.
Well, Brewster ducked under that big Bobby Collins offering, and Bobby throwing power. Good head movement by Brewster to avoid those shots. Bobby Collins doing a good job digging for this underhook on his right side.
There we go, working him against the cage there. You know, Collins definitely needs to work a little bit against the cage, do some damage here to kind of get through this round.
Well, Bobby used that underhook to turn and put Brewster's back on the cage, and we'll see what Brewster does with his back on the cage here.
If Collins can grab that ankle, he's pretty good takedown risk right here.
Brewster just throwing some knees to the back of the thigh of Collins. They landed pretty solid.
10 seconds.
10 seconds to go. Couple pretty good uppercuts by Brewster.
Oh.
It's kind of a cage grab a little bit right there at the end, but Brewster did a pretty good job defending those takedowns. I mean, Bobby Collins is a big, strong, I know I said that, but every time I look at him, I just can't believe he makes 165.
Yeah, Brewster impressive, though, first round, coming out here showing some skill.
I'm going to be honest, I was really impressed by Brewster coming out of an independent camp. You know, he did a lot of good things. He landed a lot of hard, solid leg kicks, landed some good shots to the body. I can't see Bobby Collins from where I'm at. Is he taking deep breaths on the stool?
He seems to be in a fairly good shape. He is breathing a little hard, but it seems like you know, both of them are having a little cardio issues. But you know, they were definitely both throwing some heat there in the first round.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Brewster's not breathing all that deep over on the stool, really. I mean, a little bit, but you know, for a debut fighter, you know, between the adrenaline and the atmosphere, and you know, the actual you know, cardio from the fight, I think he looks pretty good.
Referee Kane Tomlinson about to start round 2. Bobby Collins kind of grinding through that first one there. Bobby Collins with a good connect there and getting super aggressive after that.
Brewster did a good job surviving that, and that counter landed flush. Brewster's got a hold of the neck here. I can't tell from here if he's got his hands connected on the other side, but we've seen a lot of it.
Doesn't appear.
I can tell now. Bobby in a pretty good position for a single here.
There we go.
Completes it, gets it down.
Brewster was in a good spot there for a guillotine and lost it.
Well, Brewster needs to let this go now. And Bobby Collins is swinging the wood on the floor. My God, he's throwing hard shots. Big elbows.
Oh, and that looks like it might be done. That is done. Brewster took a hit and was not responsive. Bobby Collins with a dominant performance in the second.
Bobby Collins, man, once he got him on the ground, God, he landed some hard shots. Those elbows were extremely hard, and those punches were hard. But overall, man, I was super duper impressed by Corey Brewster.
Yeah, Brewster showed up, and I think that's the difference between coming from an independent camp and training with a gym. And it's just one of those that it shows a difference in fight camp technique and also cardio.
Well, I want to see Corey Brewster find a gym and train and come back in here. He's got what it takes.
He absolutely does. He has real talent there. Pretty impressive display. Bobby Collins coming out there in the second, showing up and absolutely dominant there as he got him down on the ground. Let's send it back to Rick Caruso as we get the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee, Kane Thomason, calls a stop to this bout at 1 minute and 5 seconds of the second round. For your winner by knockout, the Blaine County Fair.
Impressive. Our next bout's going to be a 155-pound bout between Austin Ronsick and Deontay Isaac, as we are going to send it back down to Rick Caruso to get this next fight started.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have a moment of your time. I've always wanted to say this ever since the movie came out, so I get my chance now. It's not like my 15 minutes of fame. Are you not entertained? Oh, come on, guys. Like, I put some effort into that. Y'all gotta put some effort into it, all right? One more time. Here we go. Are you not entertained? Excellent, excellent. I love it. Guys, check it out. Tonight we're experiencing TOC 31. This is a fistful, finger knob slocking, hop slogging, finger knocking card. Yeah, it's an awesome card. But the idea after all this is watching all these amateur fighters, their goal is to make it to the pros. Their goal is to get paid to entertain you guys. After we experience a luxurious or unluxurious amateur career, we make the opportunity to go pro. We actually have quite a few professional fighters in the building this evening. Myself, Mr. Thompson, Robbie Green, I believe I see Miss Ellswick somewhere, and the idea, y'all stop. The idea once you go pro is not to just get paid, it's to make it to the biggest freaking stage possible. And all of you guys know what that is. It's the UFC, right? So at this time, I would like to introduce in our booth our own personal guest, the winner of Tough 29 season, Mr. Brian Pooh Bear Battle. How you doing, Brian? Guys, this man stands in the echelon of what everyone in this ring wants to make it to, the UFC. He's the winner of the Ultimate Fighter Season 29. Went in as an underdog that season and won. Now he's stopped a 7-1 professional career. Brian, what kind of advice do you have for the amateurs in this building this evening?
To any amateur, anyone who's even looking to get into training, the biggest thing is consistency. You know what I'm saying? Showing up, training, working, and, having a goal in mind and aligning your life towards those goals. Even when it doesn't seem like what you're doing is working, you have to trust in the work. You know what I'm saying? If you trust in the work, then the work will pay off and good things will sure y'all cheer them on and lift them up out there. Matheson, North Carolina at highest standard today. Share coaches, some of the kids. I got some teammates fighting. So yeah, if you're up in Matheson, come on, you boy. Anybody who wants to say hey, you can follow me on Instagram, CoolBearDiamond68. And I just hope everyone has a nice night. Say hey, good time. One more time for the top 29 and UFC superstar, Brian Coolbear. I know I'm no Joe Rogan, man, but I hope I Your next bout is sponsored by Chris Fox Realtor. In this will be a 3-round, 155-pound lightweight bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, by way of Asheboro, North Carolina. Please welcome Austin Ronson.
Class act by Brian Battle. Great to see him come out tonight. Really fun to have him come out to give the fans a nice treat. Getting on to our next fight, we have a 155-pound bout between Austin Ronzik from Asheboro School of Martial Arts, coached by Coach Joms Ronzik, coming up against Deontay Isaac, another Team Phoenix, protege from Greensboro, North Carolina, Coach Graham Peru.
Well, Austin is coached by his dad, James, and that's got to be hard. I trained a lot and competed for a while, and I don't think I could coach my kid and walk him out to do this. Props to them for that. Grand Peru Team Phoenix always puts a lot of fighters on the card. So, again, 2 high-level gyms getting ready to send their best product out here.
Yeah, Ronzik is a name that is pretty familiar with TOC, veterans. And seeing Team Phoenix come out here, we'll see kind of what happens. Let's get our competitor.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner, by way of Greensboro, North Carolina. Please welcome to the octagon, Deontay, the Regurgitator, Isaac.
Interesting choice of names. Let's see what Team Phoenix is going to put on today. Team Phoenix always has a interesting, stable of fighters, and this is no exception tonight.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, well.
I mean, can't go wrong. Oldies but goldies, right? Very exciting. This 155 class is showing some power. These guys are starting to kind of, show a little more height, a little more reach than some of our lower weight classes. And you start getting the 155s, and we're going to see, another fight later on between Daniel Wilkins and Max Shoemate. But these 155s, these can be kind of tricky fights. You start getting a little power kind of mixing in with not only speed.
Deontay Isaac's made his way into the cage, and I'm going to say he is definitely the bigger fighter in this bout.
Our competitors for this bout. First, fighting out of the A1 Storage blue corner. This man is wearing the black trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing Asheboro School of Martial Arts. Weighing in at 156.6 pounds. By way of Asheboro, North Carolina, please welcome to the cage, Austin Ronson. His opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. He's wearing the black Team Phoenix Valley Kudos. He's an MMA fighter representing Team Phoenix. Weighing in 154.6 pounds by way of Greensboro, North Carolina. Please welcome Deontay, the Regurgitator, Isaac. The referee,
Kane Phillips about to get started with round 1 between these two fighters, Ronzik and Isaac. And it looks like it's going to be an interesting match. As I mentioned earlier, 155s, you start to see a little more height, a little more reach advantage. Things start to get a little more fighty here as we start kind of getting started in round number 1.
Getting ready to get round number 1 underway, touch of the gloves, and here we go. Both men come right to the center of the cage, and nice leg kick landed. Rosnick goes high, good spinning attack.
I'm going to be honest, Deontay Isaac ate everything he threw at him and landed the takedown.
Isaac was very aggressive there, got that takedown, working up against the cage.
Ronzik did a good job making guard, and he's got the overhooks, on the right arm of Deontay Isaac.
So Ronzik definitely needs to start improving position here when he gets up against the cage. He can start moving his way out and starts trying to, improve when he gets out.
It's going to be hard for him to improve his position, though, because Deontay Isaac's got his hips and head pressed up against the cage, and it's hard to even move from there. And he's starting to land some hard shots. You can hear them from here.
Big heavy shots here, Deontay. He will give you that pass. Yeah. He's working rubber guard here. Good, Deontay. Big shots. Elbows over the top here. Elbows too.
Those are pretty hard shots Deontay Isaac's landing from the top. He's starting to slowly work through that half guard. Ronzik did a pretty good job holding on to half guard, but he has took some hard shots to the body. Looks like Ronzik's going to roll for a heel hook. I can't tell from here, but it looked good when he first rolled. Nice defense. Nice knee from Ronzik to the body. Ronzik's landed a couple of good kicks, but he's carrying his hands a little lower than I want to see him carry them.
It's always good to keep your hands up, kind of protect your face a little bit.
Well, just as we say that, he lands a jab that knocks the mouthpiece out. So good job by Kane Tomlinson taking a break into action to get the mouthpiece back in. Isaac just barely missed, but Ronzik has landed some almost high kicks to the head, but Ronzik's still carrying those hands dangerously low.
10 seconds left in the bout. So far, it seems Isaac has been a more dominant figure here in round number one. Ronzik's going to have to start picking up the pace a little bit for round two.
Good showing by both guys. I mean, Ronzik did good to land in the horrible position he landed in, to start the fight off. He did a good job getting him back to the feet, and, he had his moments in the first round.
Definitely saw Isaac coming out with a little more power, a little more aggression, and definitely was showing a little more heat there to Ronzik. And Ronzik was able.
Ronzik took some really hard shots to the body in the opening part of that round, but like I said, he found his way back up to the feet. He landed a good knee, on Deontay Isaac, and if I was scoring that one, I'd give it to Isaac 10-9. But I'm going to be honest, Ronzik showed me something.
Round two gets started. Let's see any modifications coming out from their corners.
Man, that was a hard left by Deontay Isaac on the chin. Ronzik's tough, man. He's took a couple hard shots. Nice timing on the shot by Deontay Isaac.
Go to your left. Keep his knees pinned. Yes. Keep working.
Nice pass.
Keep working around. He's going to look for the triangle. He's going to look triangle here, Deontay. Okay, Deontay, work hard punches. Yeah.
Good job making guard back by Ronzik, but he's taking some hard shots to the body again.
Elbows too. Let's look past here. Big heavy shot, Deontay. Look for that pass. You can knee right up the center too if you want. There you go. And again, dead in those legs. Watch that triangle, Deontay. There we go.
Deontay doing a good job listening to his coach. He's giving them everything they're asking for.
Minutes in. Yeah. Grind his head. Keep his head pinned against the cage. Don't let him turn his hips. Turn his
Ronzik going with the high guard.
Good, Deontay. Good, Deontay. Yeah, keep working that left side.
Needs to start working on some offense. Ronzik's slowing down a little bit. Needs to start showing a little more from bottom.
It's hard to be offensive, though, when your hips are elevated in the air and you're just getting heavy ground and pound rain down on you. It's hard to mount a lot of offense from there.
There we go. Keep going.
Isaac doing a good job keeping his hips elevated and head pressed against the cage.
Go around to your left. You can knee up the center too. Deaden those legs. There we go. Now big shots. There we go. Elbows.
Ronzik's still working that guard, but
There we go. Yes. Beautiful. Now big shots.
Isaac's staying pretty busy with the body shots and head shots. Doing a good job of staying busy enough not to get stood up while keeping the hips elevated and the head on the cage. Ronzik lands in a few small shots from the bottom, but
Keep throwing those big hard shots here.
Definitely Isaac's not in any danger at this point.
Big shot. Yeah, double it up, go to the head. Working big shots, Deontay. There we go.
Isaac's still doing a good job of keeping Ronzik's hips off the ground and landing good shots. Still got his head pressed up against the cage.
That's it. Big hard shots here. Big shots.
Austin doing a good job keeping that overhook on the right arm of Deontay Isaac, but he's landing hard shots with that left hand.
That's it. Big shots, Deontay.
Gosh, that was a fast 3 minutes.
I'll tell you what, the second round, Isaac has definitely been dominant both rounds so far. Ronzik has been tough, but he gets out of the second round there, and he just Isaac was dominant and controlled both rounds so far. Ronzik has a little trouble getting up, but let's see what kind of modifications he has to make to his game plan here going into round number 3.
Well, he has to avoid the takedown early. In the first and second round, he got put on his back against the fence early in the round, and he wasn't able to get off of it. If I'm his corner, that's what I'm telling him. Just try to avoid that early takedown in the round. I think also, that Deontay Isaac has got to be up 2-0, but that might have been a 10-8 round. So, if you're in Ronzik's corner, you got to tell him, hey, man, we got to sell out. We need to finish.
Yeah, this is definitely a time to kind of leave it all out there, because at this point, Isaac has been kind of running both round 1 and 2. Definitely time for Ronzik to kind of pick up the pace a little bit and start showing the judges a little more, if not a knockout.
Cardio still look good. Both guys light on the feet, good head, good footwork. Ronzik's still throwing. Oh, hard
and that shot, yep.
Yeah, and there's the shot again.
Yeah.
Deontay Isaac's done a good job landing punches and
controlling him against the
following it
cage.
with a takedown.
Yeah, I mean,
he's landed the punches. He's followed it with the takedown. He started all 3 rounds in this position, and it's hard to overcome that when you get put in that spot at the beginning of every single round.
Well, he keeps Ronzik against the cage. Ronzik has to, fight through, and it takes a lot of energy out to try to keep, constantly fighting against that, getting away from the cage. Isaac's doing a very good job controlling the flow of the fight so far.
You heard it again just now. Like these body shots he's landing from the top, they've got some power behind them. Ronzik could be trying to set up for omoplata if he could turn out to his right. But, Isaac doing a good job of just, keeping the foot on the gas pedal. He's throwing these up the center now to the back of the glutes and thighs. And, he's doing plenty enough to stay busy and not get stood up.
Ronzik needs to get away from the cage if he can. It's tough, though, with Isaac just dominating him and keeping him kind of in these corners. Ronzik has got to start showing something. He's running out of time here to start showing anything
Like I said, Ronzik's hips are elevated, and Dimitri Isaacs has done a great job keeping his hips off the mat, and you cannot mount offense with your hips off the mat. So Ronzik has worked that guard up really high right now, though. So
Advanced position. Keep working, Deontay. Keep busy. Keep busy, and he shouldn't stand you up. There you go. Keep busy, Deontay. He's looking for a sweep.
still short, hard shots.
Big shots. That's it. 30 seconds. Big shot.
Ronzik needs to start getting explosive here.
Like I said, he just can't with his hips that high off the mat. I mean, Dimitri Isaacs has done a phenomenal job of keeping him elevated and keeping his head on the cage.
Keep turning his head to the cage. Turn him around to the cage, Deontay. That's it. Beautiful. Big right hand shot. That's it.
10 seconds left in the third.
That's it. Beautiful. Yep, keep working. Grind this.
It looks like this fight might be over. Dimitri Isaac has been dominant in all 3 rounds as we see an impressive show out of both fighters, but Ronzik didn't have much of an answer for Isaac's overwhelming offense and his stimmying ability just to keep Ronzik from getting anything accomplished as he kept him against the cage for the majority of all 3 rounds.
Well, he started out in all 3 rounds, with a couple hard punches followed up by a takedown, and in round 1, Ronzik was able to get back to his feet, but in the last couple of rounds, he just didn't have an answer for it.
We're going to send it back to Rick Caruso for finishing off our bout.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of war, we go to the judges' scoreboard. We have a judge's decision. All 3 judges scored about the same, 30-27 across the board. You're your winner, fighting out of the red corner, Deontay, the regurgitator, Isaac.
Deontay Isaacs with a dominant unanimous decision there as we start moving on our way to round number 12 between Trevor Quackenbush and Chris Spencer. It'll be a 215-pound bout between Trevor Quackenbush and Chris Spencer as we kind of keep the action moving on. Very exciting after seeing this last bit of war between those 2 great athletes.
Your next TMC bout is sponsored by TMH Landscape. This will be a 3-round, 215-pound bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner by way of Benton, Virginia. Please welcome to the octagon, Captain Trevor Quackenbush.
Yeah, so this is a 215 round bout between Trevor Quackenbush, who's coming from Mountain Gladiators out of Roanoke, Virginia, coached by Antoine Curtis, coming up against Chris Spencer from Ring Combat Sports out of here in Wytheville, Virginia, Coach Greg Ring. This is a fight that has some good hallmarks to it. We definitely saw Spencer during last TOC, lose to Jonathan Dalton that we saw earlier tonight.
Well, Chris Spencer, though, he's been putting in the work. He's changed a lot. He really wants to fight. He loves training. So, I'm excited to see what kind of improvements he's made. And, anybody that comes from Modern Gladiators is going to be well-trained and ready to go. So, Antoine Curtis and the guys do a great job with that camp. So, we're getting ready to see what's up.
His opponent fighting out of the red corner by way of Wytheville, Virginia. Please welcome to the octagon, Chris Candy Spencer.
We talked earlier, but this is something that comes up from time to time. those fight camps are super important. And as you mentioned, coming off of a loss, Chris Spencer's had a lot of time to kind of formulate a new plan of attack. And sometimes, these rebound matches can really be a little retribution, a little revenge for, what happens after that last fight.
Well, it takes the guts to get in here and do this anyway. But then, you get in and you get knocked out. And, and you come back. So, big props to Chris Spencer, getting back in there, getting back on the horse. And I'm sure he's made improvements since the last time. I think Tyler Cardwell must have did Spencer's hair for this fight.
A little Bam Bam cut.
He's an MMA fighter representing Modern Gladiator. Coming in at 216 pounds by way of Benton, Virginia. Please welcome Captain Trevor Quackenbush. His opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. He is wearing the leopard print trunks. He's a ring combat jiu-jitsu fighter representing Ring Combat Sports. Coming in at 215.8 pounds by way of Winfield, Virginia. Make some noise for Chris Candy Spencer.
Excited to see these two guys coming at it. 215 is one of those upper level weight classes that conditioning and cardio plays a super key role in. You know about this division more than anyone else, but very excited to kind of see how Chris Spencer and we come into Quackbush, how these two competitors come out here, starting round one.
Yeah, I really enjoy the cruiserweight division. There's such a big jump from 205 to heavyweight, and it gives guys like this, and including myself, this was my division, a chance to compete at a real weight class. Big leg kick landed by Quackenbush. And Chris Spencer throwing the hands. Chris in on a single. Chris Spencer working hard on this single. Now he switched to the double. Got his hands clasped. I think he's going to finish it. No, good defense by Quackenbush. Chris Spencer's got his hands connected on the backside. I really thought he was going to finish that. Trevor Quackenbush just doing a great job defending, not wasting a whole lot of energy. He's got the underhook. Quackenbush landing a couple of pretty hard body shots. Chris Spencer finally bails on the takedown, and they back to the center throwing leather. Nice inside leg kick. Nice straight shot up the middle by Chris Spencer. You can see the red marks on Quackenbush's back where he got ground into the cage, man. Chris Spencer had some heavy pressure.
Quackenbush is being pretty efficient with his strike so far.
Yeah, he's landed some good shots, but Chris Spencer's just ate him. Another good shot. Chris Spencer knows he can definitely take a punch. Chris Spencer doing a pretty good job moving his head off the center line when he throws those jabs. Nice deep kick. Good combination by Chris Spencer.
Quackenbush connected there.
Yeah, Chris Spencer got stung right there. His knees are a little wobbly right now. Nice straight left by Chris Spencer. Quackenbush doing a good job, man, staying short and compact and efficient with his punches, not wasting a lot of energy.
Quackenbush seems very, very composed so far in this round. He's not really letting any of these strikes get to him.
Chris Spencer's landed like 3 straight lefts in a row. Not a lot on him, but he's landed them. That was a good shot.
Seconds.
Good hard body kick by Quackenbush, followed up by a leg kick by both guys. They're going to swing to the bell here.
Definitely an impressive first round. But I got to be honest, Quackenbush came out and showed a lot of heart there. And he was very efficient. Spencer had some heat, but it seemed to me that Quackenbush might actually won that round.
Quackenbush, he hurt Spencer once, but I think Spencer actually landed, more strikes. So, I'm glad I'm not a judge on that one. Good round for both guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're definitely seeing, some things that are going to have to be changed here after round number 1. Round 2 is going to come up that Spencer's going to have to start being a little more, defensive when it comes to, taking some of those shots. He's going to start being a little more aggressive when it comes to either getting him to the ground or, starting to change around his stand-up a little bit.
Well, if I'm Tyler and Robbie in Chris Spencer's corner, that's what I'm going to ask for is just let your hands go, man. Don't hesitate. Be more aggressive. He didn't have any errors in the rest of his game. I just like to see a little bit more aggression. Trevor Quackenbush, man, I thought he looked good.
He did. If I'm his corner, I don't know if I'm going to change anything right now. I'm going to keep the game plan. Marcelo Rodriguez about to start round number 2.
Nice body kick by Chris Spencer. Nice combination behind it, too. I think that Tyler and Robbie asked for the aggression that we were talking about.
Absolutely.
Chris Spencer's coming out with it. Nice. Chris is loading up on that left and throwing it straight down the pipe. He's landed it quite a few times.
Tries with Superman and does not connect.
Chris going back to the fence, trying to get this takedown.
And he gets it.
Chris has got a wrestling background, so.
Oh, that was a nice connect.
That was a hard shot from the top. Chris doing a good job passing the guard.
Oh.
Nice knee to the body.
Quackenbush is in a little trouble here.
Well, I'd like to see, Chris be heavy and, advance his position here. And
this might be a good spot for a Kimura.
I think he's working on it on the other side. If he can get the left leg over the head, and he has it, he's got this Kimura, I think.
I think he does.
He's in a really good spot here.
Looks like he's about to tap.
I hate to see somebody get their arm broken in this position, but Chris Spencer's in a really dominant position here.
Quackenbush needs to tap. Yep, he is in there deep.
It is deep.
There he goes, tap. Wow. Chris Spencer dominant there in the second, comes out with a Kimura. First time we've seen any golden triangles out of the arms so far for tonight for a submission.
Yeah, I like the Kimura. He did a great job, stepping over the head, really isolating the arm. Trevor Quackenbush is tough, man. I'm going to tell you something. I'm sure that shoulder is going to hurt some more.
Let's send it back to Rick Caruso to finish up this fight.
Hey, Marcelo.
Seconds of the second round for your winner by Sheldon Capdevon. He's an MMA fighter, representing the Boundary Fight Team. Coming in at 136 pounds, by way of Beaufort, South Carolina, please welcome to the cage, Sheldon Capdevon. His opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. He's wearing the red and black Muay Thai trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing O'Malley Uprise MMA. Coming in at 136 pounds, from Burlington, North Carolina, please welcome Addison, the Chaos Hendry.
You know, this 135 division is seeing a resurgence since Robbie Ring has kind of gone pro, so it's curious to see how these 135 fights are going to continue to advance as we kind of work our way towards a new belt holder.
Well, both of these guys are capable of holding that belt. You know, Addison Hendry has fought a few times in Tennessee, and he's had some good performances. I always enjoy seeing him compete here. So, Sheldon Capdevon is grinning from ear to ear. He's ready to go.
And you like to see fighters coming out who are, you know, easy. It's just another day at work, and both these fighters, you know, kind of measuring each other up as they're starting out round one here.
They're filling each other out, finding the range, and I'm sure when they turn it loose here, that these 135ers, you know, they've got the gas. Oh, big right hand by Capdevon. I think he stung Hendry with it. I think he hurt him a little bit. I think Capdevon did a good thing by separating there. I think he stung him a little bit. And, nice. Hendry come back with it. Oh, my God. Hendry's got that neck. Nice knee. Capdevon blocked that second knee, but that first one, the second one, the third one got through clean. Addison Hendry done a good job of not throwing a knee on the ground. Oh my God!
Wow! I mean, back and forth. Capdevon absolutely stung Hendry there. Hendry went down. But
Man, they've both hit each other with some shots. Addison Hendry's getting really close to having this triangle locked up. He's got it. He's got that triangle. I'd like to see him hook the leg.
and he tapped.
Nice.
Wow. What a fight.
I'm going to tell you what, that was a short one. But
But
that's my new candidate for fight of the night right there. Oh, my God.
100%. Addison Hendry locked it up after taking a shot that I thought was going to knock him out.
Well, both guys, landed shots that dropped each other, and that was a short fight, but man, it was action-packed from start to finish. Great showing by both guys, man. Wow.
Yeah, Addison Hendry definitely shocked it, but it was anyone's fight. Captain kept coming back. I mean, that was one of those fights you just didn't know who was going to come out there with that. No clear favorite until Hendry locks up the triangle.
That was definitely my favorite fight of the night so far. There's a lot of high-level stuff went on, action. Both guys got dropped and fought back, and good job by Addison Hendry, locking up that triangle.
Marcelo Rodriguez comes to stop to this exciting fight. At a minute and 24 seconds of your first round, for winner due to tap out from triangle, Addison the Chaos Hendry.
Wow. Great show of respect there, but two amazing competitors as we kind of march our way on to fight number 14 between Clay Bucci and Luke Kinser for the 160-pound bout. We're about to get ready to start in our home stretch here, Keith.
Well, this Bucci and Kinser fight is going to be another one of those things. Kinser's 1-0. He fought a veteran, Josh Cook. Josh.
We have TLC mint t-shirts right back this way in the door you walk in at. Be sure to check those out and grab you one on the way out the door. However, got a little contest going on. Y'all want to get a little sleepy. So for whichever side is the loudest, when I ask you guys to make some noise, whether it be this side, whether it be this side, these beautiful young ladies will throw you a shirt. Y'all look a little sleepy. Got free things make people wake up. So who wants a free t-shirt? I'm not sure all the people from Princeton left. What about over here? And you have to step it up. They were shaking me over here a little bit. Y'all have to step it up. That's how I shoot. Y'all want some free stuff? One more time this way. Just felt like hearing everybody yell. Hold on, I gotta do like Hulk Hogan. They got about 25 less people. They was louder. Let's try this one more time. That's what I like to hear. At this moment, guys, I'm going to turn the mic over to Miss Kimberly Ring as soon as she runs in the cage because she's the other name. And I'm going to let her talk to you guys for a second. We're going to go on to the next fight. Oh, she had to throw a t-shirt. There we go. Kim, I thought you participated in karate, not softball. That was awesome. You probably could report back for me. So,
At this time, everybody, we would like to bring our next fighter up into the cage, Brandon Webb. Go ahead. Thank you. We'll bring Brandon up. And here he comes. Let's give Brandon a big round of applause. As everyone knows, this is a very emotional sport. There's a lot goes into your training over a 6-week fight camp. You've got weight to cut. You sit in the sauna for hours upon hours to lose the last 3 pounds of water that you have in your body. And sometimes one of the bad sides of the sports is sometimes your opponents don't take the sport as serious as you do. And they fail to show up on fight day. It happens. I hate to say that. But Brandon here, he went through all of the process with the intensity of a professional fighter, and he's had 2 opponents no-show on him in this cage. So with that being said, any promoter who is watching, do not put T.W. Ferguson or Mike Salazar on your cards, or you'll risk the same thing. Okay? It's disrespectful to this promotion. My team works for 3.5 months for this show, to put this show on for you. I have a great team. So not only did they disrespect your time, they disrespected this promotion. And this is our 31st show. We started in an area who hated MMA. We had to show them that this was a positive thing. And we're very proud of what we've done. And, there's no show which is very, very disrespectful for everybody. But Brandon, you
step in and kind of save the night. Dang, that boy's big. No, thank you, sir. Moving along, our next TOC bout is sponsored by Fire Protection Services. This will be a 3-round, 160-pound catch weight bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner by way of Greensboro, North Carolina. Please welcome to the TOC cage, Clay Bucci.
Yeah, Clay Bucci coming out here at 160 pound from Battleborn MMA from High Point, North Carolina. Kelly Knudsen, coach. Going up against Luke Kinser from Ring Combat Sports here in Whitfield, Virginia. Coach Greg Ring. This is one of those early fights that we're very excited about.
Scott, this is one of those fights right here. You know, Clay Bucci's got several fights. I think he's got 7 fights in the TOC. In his career. Luke Kinser, you know, he come off a win over Josh Cook. Josh moved up a weight class to fight Luke. It's going to be one of those fights, you know, his experience or just, you know, raw athletic ability and talent, you know, which one is going to be enough to get it done. And I'm pretty excited to see it.
Yeah, Clay Bucci, a veteran of TOC, showing up here for many years.
Fighting out of the red corner by way of Whitfield, North Whitfield, Virginia. Please welcome to the octagon, Luke Kinser.
Yeah, Clay Bucci, definitely someone who's been around before, knows the ropes, definitely a dangerous opponent. But coming up against Luke Kinser, who has had a couple of really good fight camps and had a really good showing against Josh Cook, one of the toughest guys in TOC. I think this might be a good fight. I mean, we've seen some pretty good barn burners tonight, but this might be another one.
Well, you know, Clay Bucci looks like he's put on a little bit of muscle since the last time I saw him. You know, he's looking pretty solid over there. And, you know, Luke Kinser, he's a pretty good athlete. Doesn't have the experience Bucci does, but we're getting ready to see.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So really excited to kind of see how these guys are going to come out here and, you know, show up, you know, for this bout as we kind of work our way down. We're winding down the day, you know, the night here. It's coming a little early since we got started a little earlier today, but, you know, it doesn't mean that this is going to take out anything from these fights. Even though we're finishing early, it's still going to end with a bang.
Well, we had a lot of crazy first-round finishes. Like I think the first 6 or 7 fights all was over in a couple of minutes. So, you know, it has wound it down a little early, but I think we're getting ready to see some fireworks right here.
First, fighting out of the A1 Storage blue corner. This man is wearing the black trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing Battleborn MMA. Coming in at 161.6 pounds. Fighting out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Please welcome Clay Bucci. His opponent standing across the cage in the Valley Construction red corner. He's wearing the black and blue Valley Tudos. He's an MMA fighter representing Ring Combat Sports. Coming in at 161.2 pounds. From Whitfield, Virginia, please welcome Luke Kinser.
Excited to see this. Bucci definitely experience here. Kinser, you know, fresh young face for the, you know, for the event. So just really depends on, you know, how Bucci comes out here and, you know, Kinser's game plan for, you know, how he's going to accept, you know, some of the punishment Bucci's going to lay out here as the veteran.
Well, I think we're going to see experience play a big factor here. They touch gloves and get underway. Bucci lands a big leg kick right off the bat. Nice teep kick. Bucci being real active. Nice footwork. Another leg kick. Oh, straight shot from Bucci. I'll tell you, Kinser ate that shot right down the center, man. That was a hard shot.
Yes, he did. Didn't seem to affect him too much. He's got Bucci up against the wall.
Bucci landed a nice knee right there. Nice body kick by Bucci. Luke carrying those hands a little low. Nice rip to the body by Clay Bucci.
Oh!
Nice
Oh! Wow, connected. This maybe it is it. Wow. Kinser connected. Bucci went down.
The whole fight could change in a blink of an eye, man, and it did right there. Wow. I'm going to say that's probably definitely going to be knockout
of the night.
Wow.
Absolutely. Bucci was fighting. Kinser, was eating it. Kinser connects with one shot, and down goes Bucci.
I don't think me or anybody else saw that coming. Wow.
No, absolutely. Kinser definitely connected and had enough power that it stung Bucci, and he went down and was not getting back up.
Well, it's always the shots you never see coming that get you, and he did not see that coming.
I don't think anyone saw that one coming. Maybe the replay cameras. Very impressive, though. Luke Kinser continues to impress. 2-0, as he's continuing his advancement in TOC.
Marcelo Rodriguez calls a stop to this bout at 58 seconds of the very first round for your winner by knockout, Luke Kinser.
Still an impressive performance by Clay Bucci coming out here, fighting, never giving up. He was landing some good hits. Just one of those things. Kinser kind of snuck it in there and just absolutely connected. It could have happened, the other way around, but definitely was one of those that Kinser just was dominant. Moving right along. Fight number 15 between Eduardo Castillo and Brandon Holloway was scratched due to Castillo not making weight. But we're going to be moving on to match number 16 between Jonna Wood and Wendy Anunson, 125-pound bout. This is going to be a female fight. Jonna Wood coming out of American Martial Arts from Leonardtown, Maryland. Coach is James Hardiman coming up against Wendy Anunson from Battleborn MMA from High Point, North Carolina. Coach is Kelly Anunson. This is going to be a very fun fight between these two ladies. We're going to stand on Rick Caruso to get this thing started.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the Beat Center, you guys ready to see some ladies back in action? This next fight is sponsored by Chris Fox Realtor. This will be a 3.
Yeah, so Jonna Wood versus Wendy Anunson. These two ladies are coming out to throw it down tonight with us. This 125 bout.
Well, we've got Jonna. She comes in. She's got a record of 1-3. She's had some really good fights and some really good competition. Wendy, she's got a record of 3-2. She's lost her last 2 fights, looking to get back in the win column. So, both ladies got a lot on the line.
That's true. And these lady fights, as we saw earlier tonight, they can be very, very entertaining. We saw earlier the Leslie Snyder and April Klein. This kickboxing expo, but here we're gonna see full contact MMA. These two ladies are gonna go at it. So, always very exciting. In female sports as we continue to, support and improve, female competition in the TOC, and want to see more ladies coming out to get involved in the sport.
Well, Kim Ring loves to put on the lady fights. She says before she retires, she's going to have a whole card of female fights. And she's getting closer and closer to it every year, but I don't think she's going to retire anytime soon.
No, if we see more of those Steiner-Klein fights, I'm okay with seeing an entire card like that.
Yeah, that was a really good fight.
Her opponent fighting out of the red corner, by way of High Point, North Carolina. Please welcome to the TOC cage, Wendy Anunson.
It's Jonna Woods' first time here at the TOC. I was speaking with her last night during weigh-ins, and she was very high on the promotion. But she's had a lot of success here in the last couple of matches. So curious how this is going to come out. As she's going to come up against Wendy Knudsen, who's had some success also in the local amateur circuit.
Introducing our competitors for this flyweight bout. First, fighting out of the A1 Storage blue corner. She's wearing the camo top and the black trunks. She's an MMA fighter representing American Martial Arts Gym. Coming in at 126 pounds. By way of Leonardtown, Maryland. Please welcome Jonna High Octane Woods. Her opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. She's wearing the black top and black trunks. She's an MMA fighter representing Battleborn Fight Team. Coming in at 125.8 pounds. By way of High Point, North Carolina. Please make some noise for Wendy Bonesaw Knudsen. Your referee, OG.
So we're working our way towards round one. Kane Tomlinson about to start the fight off here in the 125 bout between Jonna Wood and Wendy Knudsen.
I'm gonna be honest, Jonna Woods got that Mike Tyson stare. She has not took her eyes off this girl since she got in the cage, so I look for her to come out and charge pretty hard.
Oh, and you were right. Jonna Wood comes out and lays it out. Good strikes.
She landed some good stiff jabs right off the bat. Wendy's looking to get this fight to the ground, and she does.
Jonna Wood gives her back.
Nice job keeping her on the canvas.
And Knudsen's definitely trying to keep her down. Realizes that maybe
She's doing a good job. She's got both hooks in. This is a dangerous spot for Jonna Wood.
I don't think she quite has the rear naked at this point.
She doesn't, but she's
working at it.
Taking some shots, softening her up a little bit. She's in a really good position.
Jonna Wood's got to keep that chin down to prevent that rear naked choke from coming in.
Jonna Wood's doing a good job. She's fighting the hands 2-on-1, doing what you're supposed to do. And
She did not like that stand-up. She took that down immediately. What I tell you, though, I knew she didn't want to rock with that. Let's go. Let's escape the back now. Let's escape the back now.
Jonna's turning. She may explode and wind up on top here. Wendy done a good job of getting back to and keeping that position.
Wendy might have a chance here for some sort of arm work if she can kind of break that arm out.
Roll back over. Roll back over. Fight the head.
She's just using that arm to control her right now, and like I said, she's still fighting 2-on-1. She's doing what she's supposed to do. She's landing some punches, softening her up. She's still looking for that choke.
Fight in the head. Yes. All right. Your head to the mat over hers. Yes. We got to turn into her. Get on top. That's it. Let's rotate on top. Stay on top of her leg and arm. Stay on top of her leg and arm. We're getting our back on the mat.
Jonna Wood's showing a little bit of skill there, just getting up. And Knudsen's trying to keep her from getting up and gets.
Wendy's done a really good job of maintaining the position, and she's got her flattened out now. She's landed some really hard shots from the top. She's done a good job of keeping her position.
Knudsen's got a good game plan. Definitely landed some strikes here.
Well, Jonna Wood has worked really hard to get up, and she's done the right things to get up, but
Wood has to start moving something, and she doesn't. Kane Tomlinson calls this in the first round due to strikes for Wendy Knudsen over Jonna Wood.
that was really impressive, to be honest. Both girls, they look good.
you could definitely tell that Wendy Knudsen had a good game plan to keep Jonna Wood from, keeping her stand up, keeping her on the ground, and definitely using to great effect as she kind of dominated that and came across with that. Let's send it back to Rick Caruso to finish us up.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 2 minutes and 16 seconds of the very first round, your referee, King Thompson, calls a stop to this fight for your winner by TKO due to strikes, Wendy Boom!
Well, we keep on moving down as we move into the 145-pound bout between Josh Lilly and Riker Powell. This is finishing us up in the long, the home stretch here as we're going to move it on. Let's send it back down to Rick Caruso as we're going to finish up, this TOC 31.
Your next TOC bout is sponsored by TMX Landscapes. This will be a 3-round, 145-pound featherweight bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, by way of Beaufort, South Carolina. Please make some noise for Josh Lilly.
Josh Lilly from the Foundry Gym out of Beaufort, South Carolina, coaches Abe Stem. Is coming up against Riker Powell, coming from Matrix MMA from Greensboro, North Carolina, coaches Todd Monroe. Josh Lilly, no stranger here to TOC, and we're going to be curious to see how he's going to continue to advance in this really tough 145 field.
I'll be honest with you, Josh Lilly's one of my favorite fighters. From the first time I ever saw him fight in TOC, super aggressive, good wrestler. He's getting ready to get deployed overseas. It'll probably be his last time we see him for a little while, and hopefully he'll come out and put on a good show. Nobody will get injured. Riker, he's coming in off a loss. He's trying to get back in the win column. He switched up camps, to try to make it happen. He's now with Matrix MMA, and I really look for this to be a good fight.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner, by way of Mammoth, North Carolina. Please welcome to the cage, Riker Powell.
Yeah, you're 100% right. This is going to be one of those fights that, Josh Lilly's looking for a W before he ships out, but, Riker Powell has been no joke. He's had some good challenges coming up the last couple of months, but, he's definitely making some changes, and curious to see how this fight camp has turned out for him.
Well, it's always interesting to see a fighter when they switch camps, and a lot of times it makes a huge difference, and, I'm excited to see what he brings to the cage this time.
Yeah, fight camps are one of those that make or break a fighter, especially when they come in. If you put in the work, you put in the effort, that fight camp can turn an average fighter into an extraordinary fighter.
Introducing our competitors for this featherweight bout. First, fighting out of the A1 Storage blue corner. This man is wearing the yellow and gray RDX trunks. He's an MMA fighter representing the Foundry MMA. Weighing in at 146.8 pounds by way of Beaufort, South Carolina. Please welcome Josh Lilly. His opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. He's wearing the black trunks. He's a freestyle fighter representing NMMA and the Matrix. Coming in at 146 pounds by way of Mebane, North Carolina. Please welcome Riker Powell.
Riker Powell's a little more gangly, got a little more, reach on him, but I gotta be honest, Josh Lilly has been an explosive fighter so far in his career here at TOC.
Yeah, he always comes out with his foot on the gas, and I like that. So I look for it to be no different right here.
Referee King Thompson about to start this fight in round number 1.
Fighter, you ready? Fighter, you ready? Let's go. Riker comes out with the flying knee, and Josh goes right into the wrestling, right into side control. So Josh starts out in a good position right here.
Riker was very aggressive, and Josh seemed to just sense it and has very effectively maintained side control.
Well, Riker Powell's doing the right things to try to get out of this position, and raising Robbie Ray.
How's it going, guys?
It's going great, man. Great. It's been a good night of fights.
Yeah, there's been some really good fights on this card. It's been a pleasure to watch it. Looks like this fight right here.
Well, Josh Lilly just smoothly took the back right there.
So Josh Lilly always comes in with slick jiu-jitsu, looking to put the rear naked choke on.
He's
quick.
under the chin. He's got the hips flattened out. I think this one's over.
It's tight.
It is tight. Riker Powell doing a good job, man. He's fighting it. He's putting his feet on the cage, trying to push away, but that's deep. Yeah, that's over.
There's only so much that you can do when he chokes under the chin like that. Riker put up a good fight trying to weather the storm, but it was just too tight.
Yeah, definitely a rear naked choke by Josh Lilly in the first. Riker Powell did not have enough to come out from that, but what a heck of a fight. Josh Lilly goes out with a W, shipping out soon, and he has definitely been impressive in his TOC career. Let's wish him all the best, and hopefully he comes back very soon. We're moving straight along, and we're wrapping things up rapidly here at TOC 31. As we're going to move on to our next fight, which is going to be Daniel Wilkins versus Max Shoemate, 155-pound bout.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee, Kane Thompson, calls a stop to this bout at 1 minute and 13 seconds of the very first round. For your winner by tap out due to rear naked choke, Josh Lilly.
You know, Josh Lilly, super impressive over his TOC career. I cannot believe that, we're gonna miss him, but let's hope he comes back safe and we see him again in future TOCs.
Yeah, hopefully he'll come back safe, and what a way to get sent off.
Of course, we just seen Josh Lilly perform, but I would like for us to give him a special round of applause. Josh is deployed to the branch of the military.
In the Army.
He is in the Army. He will be deployed to Kuwait this May. So let's give him a huge round of applause. And over the next month, please keep him and your family in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you, Josh.
Moving on to the next fight number 118 between Daniel Wilkins and Max Shoemate for the 155-pound bout. We're excited as we're kind of wrapping up two more fights
Hold on,
on TOC
one more
31.
round of applause. This man is a double service vet. He was in the Marines as well. Hoorah! Ladies and gentlemen, there is a white vehicle outside Virginia plates, UNP 9121. Your alarm's going off. You're going to have a dead battery. Again, it's a white car, VA plates,
I'm
UNP
super excited for this.
9121. Might want to cut your stuff on.
Super excited.
All right, and it's an Audi.
Who you got?
So if you got, somebody's got an Audi. Y'all better go cut your alarm on. Make sure you still got your stereo. I'm just kidding. It's not like that, guys. Bluefield tape. You guys ready for your co-main event of the evening?
Oh, yeah.
This bout is sponsored by Sheets of Whitfield. This will be a 3-round, lightweight, 155-pound bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, by way of Beaufort, South Carolina. Please welcome to the cage, Daniel Smiley Wilkins.
You know, this is a 155-pound top contender bout between Daniel Wilkins and Max Shoemate. Daniel Wilkins comes from Team Saga out of Lincoln, North Carolina. George White is his coach. Max Shoemate is showing up from Matrix MMA from Greensboro, North Carolina. Coach is Todd Monroe. This is going to be a heck of a fight tonight, Keith.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't had the pleasure to watch either one of these guys compete, but, they're fighting for the right to fight Dylan Smith, the current champion for the belt. I'm going to tell you, man, Dylan Smith is a guy that has just looked better and better and better as his career through the TOCs went on. So, you know, whoever wins this fight tonight, they've got a huge challenge in front of them.
Yeah, Dylan Smith, who recently just came off of his belt victory and defeated Micah Sheffy in an extraordinary fight that was easily my fight of the night. Really excited to see who's going to walk away from this fight to kind of go up against him, hopefully next TOC.
Yeah, like I said, whoever wins this fight, they've got a big challenge in front of them, but hey, go big or go home, right?
Absolutely. And we're going to see what's going to happen tonight as we see Daniel Wilkins come against Max Shoemate. Let's send it back down to Rick Caruso as we meet our challenger.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner by way of Lexington, North Carolina. Please welcome to the cage, Matt Mushu Shoemate. Introducing our competitors to this bout. First, fighting out of the A1 Storage blue corner. This man is wearing the black trunks. He's a freestyle fighter representing Saga Combat, Team Saga. He weighs in at 156.4 pounds from Lincolnton, North Carolina. Please welcome his opponent standing across the cage in the morning construction.
All right, Marcel Rodriguez is about to get this start from round number 1 between Daniel Wilkins and Max Shoemate.
Super intense stare down again between these two guys. So, you know, I'm expecting pretty immediate action whenever they ring this bell. Wilkins come out and lands a couple low kicks, and Shoemate lands, that's a really hard kick right there.
Oh!
Oh, big overhand right.
Both these competitors coming out here swinging and kicking.
Wilkins just pulls guard. We'll see what he does with it right here against the fence. Wilkins working hard for that armbar, man. He may have it. I'm going to tell you, that's pretty slick jiu-jitsu right there. Shoemate trying to shake him off, but I'm going to tell you, that's pretty deep, it looks like, from here.
Doesn't have it. He was close, though.
Shoemate did a good job defending. He picked him up and shook just enough of it off, but he just switched right to the other side.
He got it. Oh!
Yeah. I told you that was deep right there, boy. Woo! I hope that's not injured real bad. It popped.
Oh,
it popped.
Yeah,
Yeah, when he switched sides, man, he was deep. That was really nice groundwork by Daniel Wilkins, which might be what it takes to deal with the wrestling of Dylan Smith. So, hey, you know, what do we got to look forward to?
I mean, we saw Dylan Smith doing almost the exact same thing to Micah Sheffy. You know, it was almost a little irony that was the way that Daniel Wilkins comes across Max Shoemate. Wow, what a heck of a fight for the co-main event between Daniel Wilkins and Max Shoemate for the 155-pound bout, as we see who's going to go up against Dylan Smith.
Glad that Shoemate didn't have any injury. That looked bad.
Heck of a fight between Daniel Wilkins and Max Shoemate as we get to our main event between Lewis Glover and Denver Lopez for the 170-pound title bout. Let's send it over to Rick Caruso as we get this thing started.
Speaking of belts and gold, on to our main event of the evening. Your next TOC bout is sponsored by With Tire and Muffler. This will be a 5-round, 170-pound welterweight title bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, by way of Beaufort, South Carolina, please welcome to the cage, Lewis Glover.
Yeah, Lewis Glover is coming from the Foundry Gym. We've seen a lot of Foundry guys coming in tonight from Beaufort, South Carolina. Coaches Abe Stin coming up against Denver Lopez, Team ROC out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Seth Stevenson, the coach.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something. You know, like I said, the Foundry, they brought a lot of legit fighters every time they send one to the ring. They look great. Denver Lopez, though, man, is the real deal. Like, I've been super impressed with Denver. Both of these guys are definitely worthy to be in this 170-pound title fight, and I cannot wait.
Absolutely. This could be the fight of the night, but, you know, we've seen so many good fights so far on this card. It'd be hard to choose, but, you know, these title fights, they can go the distance, but, you know, a lot of times it really just depends on the heart. It depends on your fight camp. And overall, it really depends on luck. Because, I mean, you know, these guys got to this level by being really good.
I'm not sure what happened. We've had more technical difficulties tonight than we've ever had.
Yeah, but I got to be honest, Keith. Seeing the Foundry tonight, you know, those guys have put some real competition in tonight's TOC. I'm excited to see where they're going to be able to bring for TOC 32, and you know, just seeing what kind of folks they're able to get together.
North Carolina, please welcome to the TOC cage, Denver Lopez.
You're exactly right. You know, Denver Lopez has been showing up, you know, for quite a while now, but, you know, he continues to improve, continues to impress, and this is his shot here for the 170-pound title. And, you know, if anyone's been around, you know that this has always been one of those belts that's passed around. I think Denver Lopez has the chops to keep this thing at home.
Yeah, I agree, but, you know, he's got a tough challenge in front of him to win it, so, you know, I'm pretty excited to get to see this fight. Just, you know, I said earlier this was my pick, you know, for early fight of the night. We've had a phenomenal night of fights. There's been some great fights on the card, so I hope we can close it out with a bang.
noise for Lewis Glover. His opponent standing across the cage in the Barney Construction red corner. He's wearing the Black Valley Tudos. He's an MMA fighter representing Team Rock Fayetteville. Coming in at 170.6 pounds. By way of Fayetteville, North Carolina, make some noise for Denver Lopez. Your referee for this title bout, Marcelo Rodriguez.
Marcelo's getting ready to start round 1 here of this title fight. Really excited for these 5 3-round bouts. 5 3-minute bouts. Let me do that. But we're excited to see kind of what these two competitors are going to bring as we get ready for this title bout.
Denver opens up with a hard kick to the body, partially blocked. Nice leg kick. Denver doing a good job changing level feint and making Glover guess right now. I like the feint into the leg kicks. He's already got Glover trying to check. He's picking his leg up every time he feints. Glover lands a nice leg kick. I like the feints. I like the feints a lot.
Oh.
Lopez switched stance and
may have got a little accidental penalty
did.
there.
We did get a little low blow off the.
You know, those accidental injury times can sometimes, you know, they come out of nowhere, but you know, it does get a little time for the opponent to kind of take your time to recollect your thoughts, and it just
You could hear that one hit the cup. But looking over there at Lewis Glover, he looks like he's going to be okay. I think he should take his time and make sure he's ready, but he looks ready to go. So. Man, fast hands by Lewis Glover. Lewis Glover's got fast hands, man. He landed some nice combos on Denver Lopez.
Lopez is doing a really good job just eating those and just moving around.
Throws a big right hand.
The movement of both these guys is phenomenal.
Both guys land nice leg kicks. Glover's really been looking to walk Denver Lopez down since they started back from the accidental foul. Nice straight shot by Lopez. Oh, nice leg kick. I gotta say, I've been impressed by the speed of the Glover's hands, but nice timing on the shot by Denver
That was a good
Lopez.
takedown by Lopez.
We're about 30 seconds out from the round. Glover done a good job right there, creating a scramble, almost getting to his feet. Good job by Denver Lopez to maintain the position, try to finish out the round on top. Oh man, Denver Lopez goes right to mount. He's going to try to finish out this round with some damage. Glover doing a daggone good job of not taking any damage from that.
Great defense. Not allowing Lopez to connect and definitely keeping it tight. Lopez is not able to connect with any meaningful attacks to the head. And, Glover is definitely doing a great job on bottom.
Glover's took almost no damage, to be on the bottom and be mounted by Lopez. So, good job on his part. A couple little elbows got through, but no big damage for the position. That's a good, solid, hard shot from the top.
This is one of those rounds that I'd hate to be a judge, but I got to be honest, it was pretty even. I think you see both guys coming out, and I mean, good things out of both. I don't really know if I'm a corner, if I'm going to change anything.
Well, I think if you're judging the fight, the takedown at the end, ending the round in the dominant position, probably wins that round for Denver Lopez, but no big damage. If I'm in the corner of both guys, I'm just going to ask for more of the same. I was really impressed with the hand speed, though, of Lewis Glover, man. He got fast hands.
Yes, he does. And then you see Lopez out there, really great head movement, moving his body around. Both of these fighters were definitely showing up today, and, not to say that you like to see knockout, but, these title fights, you kind of like to see them go the distance. You want to see, all the hard work, the years of dedication these guys have put into it to get to this point. You want to see them, take it seriously, and this is good when you start seeing these fights. But it also brings out, where cardio and really good endurance is going to start making a big key factor.
Lopez opens back up with a couple feints, big right hand. Glover doing a good job walking him down, cutting off the cage, lands a couple shots. Glover throwing pretty good power in his shots, I'll be honest. He's fast and powerful. Denver needs to keep off the cage. If I'm his corner, I'm going to be screaming, keep your back off that cage, because all the damage that Glover's doing is when he pins him up against the cage and lands those combos. Lopez doing a good job moving the head and his angles, but he's backing up a lot. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him stop backing up and keep his back off the cage. Glover catches a kick and puts Lopez on his back. Lopez landed some big shots. Denver does a good job getting back to his feet, though. That was a good job.
Oh, almost connected with that knee.
Glover just barely missed with it, but he landed a good body shot in between. Denver's a little tall against the fence. I'm glad to, Denver's got the underhooks, and nice knee. Glover doing a good job head fighting with Lopez right now, keeping his head off. I've got the cage cut off by Marcelo. I can't see anything.
So far this has been a very even keeled fight between both these fighters. It's this has been a pretty impressive display by both these opponents between Glover and Lopez.
I'm going to be honest with you. I really thought Denver won the first round. I've got to give the second round to
Glover,
to Lewis Glover. So I think we're 1-1 right now in this title fight.
But for a title fight, this is exactly what you want to see. You want to see both these opponents that are taking it seriously, and they're competitors. They want to go out there and they want to be strong. And both these guys are going out there and giving it all they have, and they're both being smart. They're saving it up, and I think we're going to see the next couple of rounds, if it goes that far, you're going to start seeing a little more damage being done, a little more aggression as they start realizing, hey, we got to start adding the speed on.
Well, I think Denver Lopez has got to keep his back off the cage. I feel like Lewis Glover's the stronger fighter, and I feel like it's taxing his cardio. He's taking a lot of damage against the cage. If I'm his corner, I'm just begging him to keep his back off the cage. Other than that, man, I don't think these guys have made any mistakes or anything, and I think their corners probably be pretty satisfied with the way it's all went down.
so far endurance does not seem to be an issue. Both these guys are coming out here and they're fighting strong after 3 rounds.
Well, Denver Lopez landed a couple nice counter right hands there off of the strikes of Lewis Glover, and nice shot by Lewis Glover. Glover landed some nice hammer fist to the thigh and a nice knee to the thigh. Oh, big shots. Denver Lopez keeps switching stances, but he keeps his back close to the fence, and Glover's done a really good job of keeping him pushed up against that fence.
And he keeps attacking the leg. Eventually, that's going to pay off if he keeps striking that, that thigh area. It seems like that's going to eventually, start bearing fruit as Lopez is going to start taking weight off that leg.
Another good combination by Lewis Glover. Nice jab by Denver Lopez. Lopez took a shot. Lewis Glover did a good job defending it, and he's got Lopez pressed up against the fence again. And I just think this is the worst place that he can be right now. Oh, big spinning elbow. Wow. He set that up nice, I'm going to be honest. I saw it coming, but he set that up nice. Those hammer fists to the leg, they will add up. He's landed some pretty hard ones, but he's almost got his hands connected behind the legs. He's going to be looking to switch for either a double or a single here in just a second. I would like to see, Lewis Glover put his head under Lopez's chin and head fight him on the cage. Oh. Nice knee.
It's been everything that we could hope for when it comes to a title match. We've seen, pure battle from these two competitors as they've come out here.
Yeah, Denver Lopez, man, is just going to have to figure out how to keep his back off that cage. I know it's easier said than done, but, all of his damage that he's taking and all of his problems he's having is whenever he gets pushed against the cage. I'm going to be honest, man, Lewis Glover has fought a really good, smart fight. He's done exactly what he needs to do. I've got him up 2 rounds to 1 right now, we're getting ready to go into the 4th round, and, if Denver can't come up with an answer to get his back off the cage, I think we're just going to see more of the same.
If you're Lopez's corners, what do you tell him here to make corrections?
Tell him, you're going to have to use your footwork to keep your back off that cage. Other than that, it's been a great fight. Both guys, high-level guys, but he's going to have to figure out how to keep his back off the cage.
Now we enter the championship rounds. Let's make some noise.
Glover's feeling the energy in the room. He's definitely working that leg again.
Well, he comes out with a nice combination and then presses him right up against the fence again. And Denver had the neck just for a second to let it go. And Glover doing, the same thing he's been doing for the whole fight.
There you go. Head up in the chin. See how you stop when you get that big knee? Break that angle again. Break that angle. Switch your hips. Switch your hips. You like that shit? Switch your hips.
Denver Lopez did a good job switching the hips and getting away, but man, Andrew just keeping the pressure on, followed him right over there and put him right back on the cage again. Denver doing a good job fighting for underhooks, but man, the pressure of Glover is just it's just incredible.
Yeah, Luis Glover has definitely had a good game plan to keep Denver Lopez up against the cage and has executed that game plan so far in this fight so far.
Well, he just keeps him against the fence. He keeps landing hammer fist and knees to the thigh. And
it's preventing Denver Lopez from getting out in open space to, make any type of strikes.
Denver does a good job slipping and getting off the cage, but, Glover lands a couple really nice punches. Glover gets his back up on the cage again. Lopez does a good job walking and getting off the cage. Nice body kick. Really nice counter punch and kick by Lopez right there. Glover does a good job getting underhooks immediately on that takedown defense, and he just presses him right up against the fence and starts over again. I still like to see Luis Glover put his head under Lopez's chin and fight that head up and finish this takedown.
He keeps working that leg, and he's, he could be eligible for, pull an ankle and try to get the takedown, but it feels like Glover is feeling pretty confident, just keeping him against the wall and just continually just working him up against the wall.
Well, Lopez is doing good things, keeping his base wide, lands a good solid punch and changes levels, but man, he just hadn't been able to take, Luis Glover down. He's in a good position now for that ankle pick. We've got 10 seconds to go in the fourth round, and
battle so far, but I got to be honest, Luis Glover has got a game plan. He is stuck with it. Denver Lopez, while having some good strikes, has not had a really good answer so far as his offense against Luis Glover.
I'll be honest, man. I've got it 3 rounds to 1. I'm in Denver Lopez's corner, man. I'm gonna tell him, hey, look, man, you gotta want this. You gotta finish. I'm gonna be honest with my fighter. I'm gonna say, I got you down 3 rounds to 1. You gotta come out, man. Leave it all out there.
At this point, you gotta look for a knockout or a submission. So far Luis Glover has been dominant in the middle rounds, and it's all on the line here. So Luis Glover knows that it's his fight, and all he has to do is kind of hold on. But Denver Lopez wants back in this. He's gonna have to do something extraordinary.
If Luis Glover can come out and do the same thing he's been doing, man, he's going to cruise on to the title. I feel like I said, I have it 3-1 right now. So. Luis Glover pumping the crowd up for round 5. Lopez, threw a good knee there on his way to getting pressed against the cage again, but he landed 3 nice elbows now. See, I've been screaming for this the whole fight. I hear his coach screaming, get your head up into his chin, and it stops all those elbows. Lopez does a good job getting off the cage, and big straight shot. Man, Denver Lopez has definitely had his moments, but he's just not had an answer for this right here.
It's been a tough fight for Lopez right now. Luis Glover has definitely been dominant so far, and he's continuing to hold Lopez against the cage. And Lopez is just having a hard time trying to make space and get back into open territory. But look like we might almost get a takedown here by Glover.
He had the single for a second. He let it go. I think he can be pretty comfortable doing what he's doing. we're about halfway through the round. And
Lopez has got to start getting a little more explosive. If he wants any chance of getting this back in, he's got to start making something happen.
Lopez walks himself off the cage and almost gets off, lands a pretty decent knee, but Glover keeps his head down, gets him right back up against the cage again, and just keeps, landing the strikes to the legs and body.
Glover's not really been anything super explosive, but he's done enough. He's just grinding, Lopez into the ground and trying to just sap him of energy. And just Denver Lopez has not had an answer and has spent most of this entire match up against the wall.
Well, it's really hard, man, whenever a guy just pushes you against the cage or holds you on the mat and just kind of grinds on you and beats you up. And I'm going to be honest, man, Lewis Glover's done a phenomenal job of doing that.
Yeah, Denver Lopez is a very quality opponent, and so far, Lewis Glover has had a really great game plan for tonight's fight.
Lewis, he's in the driver's seat right now. I think he's up 3 rounds to 1 coming into this one, and he's done, everything he done in the first 4 in the 5th round. And, unless Lopez can come up with a finish here, I got to think that we've got a 170-pound champion named Lewis Glover.
Well, this has been Scott Martin and Keith Goins for TOC 31. We appreciate you joining us tonight. We're going to send it back over to Rick Caruso as we find out the status of TOC 31. We appreciate you joining us, and we hope to see you for TOC 32. Thank you, and have a blessed night.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds of war, we have went to the judges' decision. All 3 judges score this bout the same, 49-46 across the board. For your winner and new TOC welterweight champion, fighting out of the blue corner, Lewis Glover. Please be careful on your ride home. We will see you guys back here again in November. Thank you guys all for coming out and supporting those that support us.